Please clap. Joseph is doing his best Sean Bean impression. Laura Dern made the right choice in college, and new and exciting movies are on the horizon.
Oh, it's time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call. Bueller.
I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller.
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm late for class.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kimblett to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Hello, classmates, and welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class. I'm your host for today, Pete.
And I'm Tyler.
And there's no Joseph over there. We have Larry David in his place.
Yeah. Which, I mean, he's pretty much Sacramento's Larry David.
It's been said many times. It's a cliche for a reason. Tyler, where is Joseph?
Well, I'm on the East Coast, presumably.
Yeah.
From the pictures we've been getting through our group chat.
Yeah.
They look great. Hope you're having a great time, Joseph. Hope you're having a great time.
He looks like he's having a ball.
I wish I was there. Why couldn't you take me? Why couldn't you take me and Pete?
Well,
Leave the wife behind.
I was going to say he's not married to us, so for one.
Maybe we should get a three-way marriage going on.
No. I don't want to have to.
You don't want to be legally bound to me.
Yeah, that too. All your finances are now my finances. Jesus Christ. Hey, maybe that's how I can somehow, in a long roundabout way, get you to pay for the show.
Oh, well, we'll drop a contract.
Yeah, exactly. But no, Joseph's in. He's doing the Sean Bean route where he's following Nicolas Cage around in National Treasure.
You know, I thought you were talking about that English actor, Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean?
I thought when you said Sean Bean, I thought Mr. Bean for some reason. I was like, wait, he was in the National Treasure?
No,
I didn't remember that.
Scene Bean. Boromir himself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, good for him. I hope he gets what he's looking for.
I'm sure.
I mean, he got a great picture of that staircase.
Oh, from the Exorcist? Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I know Jack was trying to, he's like, is this something? Should I know this?
It's like,
on
yes,
cinematics.
Jack. Yes, you should.
You should know this, Jack.
It's very iconic.
Yeah. Jack's a youngster, though. Jack's like...
yeah, he's only like 28.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, if that.
If that.
But yeah, so anyways, thank you to everyone in the YouTube live and otherwise,
yes.
And to the OG classmates in podcast land. We appreciate everybody coming and listening
Very
to
so.
our little show. Yeah.
Yes.
So Tyler, do you have anything you wanted to talk about, or you want to go straight to Gab Chatter? I'm defaulting to you. This is unprecedented.
I don't know what to say. Like I don't know. Was there something I was supposed to talk about?
No, you're always just for a long time you were just angry we would rush through pre-Gab.
Oh well, yeah, but with Joseph not here, like
What's the deal with bagels?
What is the deal with bagels, by the way?
They're bread and they're round.
When you go and buy a bagel from a coffee shop, like they're always like more than $5. $5 for a bagel. And then the common argument is, well, why don't you go to a grocery store? Yeah, but you're buying like 12 bagels, which, okay, yeah, that but when you're on the go, I'm not paying $5 for a bagel, and I'm also not going to take the time of day if I'm late to work to toast a bagel, put the cream cheese on there, and run out.
Tyler,
and then the argument is, okay, well, then you have to wake up early to make the bagel. Well, I have a problem with time. So
you've already answered your own question. Why does it cost $5? Because all of those things that you don't want to do. The price of the price.
Bitten by my own tail.
Yeah, by your tail.
Or head,
what are you, stingray?
Yeah.
That's
however that goes.
The more convenient something gets, the more expensive it gets.
Yeah.
That's why you can buy a gallon of paint for $20, and you can buy a rattle can of paint for like $9.
Right.
And you could fill up like probably 50 cans of rattle can paint with that gallon of paint.
I think the perfect example is parking garages. Every time like I go to a concert or if I'm going downtown, I'm not looking for a parking spot. I'm not that cheap. Like if I'm going downtown or to a concert, I'm not going to stress myself out trying to find a parking spot. And then I do find a parking spot and it's like 5 miles away from the venue. No, I'm gonna bite the bullet, pay $25 to get a convenient parking spot, and there we go. That's part of the expense.
Do you think we should have state subsidized parking garages?
I agree. I declare here and now that California should subsidize parking garages, although they'd be taken advantage very quickly. So I don't know. Maybe that might not be the greatest idea. All right, I'm done.
Okay. Well, that's some sufficient pre-gab. Let's get right into some actual Gab Chatter.
Find some charity, ye lad. Now's the time for Gab Chatter.
Gab Chatter movie news of the week. Before I give it to you, Bruce had a great point that without pre-gab, you can never make sweet, tender love. You have to have the pre-gab beforehand.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a tender lover, Bruce.
You gotta warm up that puss somehow.
And wow, okay. And also, he said, I'm not sure if there's he basically talked about our black metal veins that you mentioned a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
The director Lucifer Valentine. He says he's got an infamous nature and filmography about him.
Really?
Yeah, he said he's most known for Vomit Dolls style of softcore porn. Wow, I don't know what any of those words mean strung together.
I never heard of that in a sentence.
But Tyler, report back next week.
Vomit dolls?
Vomit dolls.
Vomit dolls. All right.
I don't know what that is. I don't know if I want to know.
I mean, just based on what I saw with Black Metal Veins, which is probably like the entry level into his filmography, like that is a tough watch.
Yeah,
it's a tough watch.
All right. Anyways, what do you got for actual news stories?
Well, this comes from Variety.com. Laura Dern's college forced her to drop out over Blue Velvet and called her insane for giving up her education. Now the school teaches the film, and it pissed her off. Now the school, of course, is UCLA Film School, and
wait, so UCLA Film School kicked out
Laura Dern,
and let's leave Laura Dern out of it. Kicked out a student for participating in a film created by David Lynch.
Well, there's a little bit more context to it. So Laura Dern, she appeared on a podcast with Woody Harrelson and Ted Danson. I didn't even know they had a podcast. Everyone has a podcast.
Yeah. Obama and the Boss.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. So she goes on to say on the podcast, I was 17, so excited to get into UCLA. I was there for 2 days, and I had auditioned and got offered the role in Blue Velvet. Dern was ecstatic over getting the film as she worshipped Lynch, who was already an Oscar-nominated filmmaker at this point in his career for The Elephant Man. But when Dern went to speak to the head of her college department about getting a leave of absence so she could make Blue Velvet, she was met with a resounding, absolutely not. I don't know why. I just imagine that's how they would
He's
sound.
British.
Yeah.
The dean of UCLA is British.
I said, I have this opportunity, and he said, well, I'll look at the script if you want to give me the script, but you know you're not going to get a leave of absence. It's not going to happen. It's not a medical emergency.
So it's not they kicked her out for doing Blue Velvet. It's like she
Hold on,
decided.
it gets
Okay.
it gets
Sounds
a
like
deeper.
she decided to do a movie in the middle of a fucking semester of school.
It was in the beginning of the semester.
Okay,
It was
well,
2 days after the semester started.
Hey, yeah, it's like when you get hired on a new job and you're like, hey, I know that I just got hired here, but can I take a vacation? It's going to be a month long.
Good point. Dern said about her conversation with the head of UCLA's film department at the time, the department head was able to read the Blue Velvet script. So he said, no, this isn't a medical emergency, but give me the script. Let's see, like maybe I can be swayed in a different way is what I got from that.
Okay.
And Dern remembered being called into his office and being told, first of all, if you make this choice, you are no longer welcome at UCLA. You'll be out. But secondly, having read this script, that you would give up your college education for this is insane. Obviously, it was an incredibly shocking script, Dern admitted after.
I love this accent.
I know.
I'm going to ask you, I'm going to call on you sometime during later episodes of the show to do the UCLA Dean accent. So remember that one.
Yeah, it's in the bank.
Okay, good.
So obviously it was an incredibly shocking script, Dern admitted before revealing, I will just end by saying after my 2 days today, if you want to get a master's in film at that school, when you write a thesis that there are 3 movies you are required to study, and you know what one of them is?
Blue Velvet.
She said, "It pissed me off." And so, like, I thought that, I mean, I can see how that could piss her off, but at the same time, you know, look what it did to your career, Laura. Like, you took a shot, or you took a chance, and it like, that was the movie that got her like a bunch of roles. I mean, I think her most famous role is Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
So
I think she was 23 when she filmed that. She looked like a straight up, like a grown ass woman.
Yeah, you know, it's weird too. Like, a lot of these young people who are like in their early to mid 20s in like the 80s and 90s, they look so much older. I don't know why that is. Maybe it was the lead in the gas.
It's probably
Or something like that. But when
the fact that no one believed in sunscreen.
True. Yeah, everyone wanted that leathery tan skin.
I'm gonna get rid of Larry David here. We're gonna go straight to just the two, just the two of us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. But I thought I didn't listen to the podcast that she was like, you know, saying this story. But I think if she is truly pissed off that Blue Velvet is a major point of study at the UCLA Film School, I think that should be like kind of an honor, really, because yeah, it sucks that you got kicked out of school because you took a chance on David Lynch's very odd script.
Yeah.
But at the same time, now people are studying your work. And so I think that that would be an honor. And she should be appreciative of that. But again, if it was me, at first I would be pissed. I get that. I feel her.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would soften up a little bit. And that I want to say that there's other like authors who are like banned from like schools, but then they're studied now.
I mean, the thing is, like, this is the definition of clickbait. Joe Bridges is in the chat and he says, so she had to go to class to go to school. Who knew? That's exactly my thoughts on it. You go to you I don't know what it takes to get accepted to UCLA Film School, you know? And then 2 days into the semester, she's like, I got to bail. I got a project I got to work on. Granted, it was a smart decision for her and all that.
Right.
But just thinking of it in terms of that, it seems insane.
It
so
does.
And the project is not, it's not she got kicked out of UCLA because she worked on this project, Blue Velvet. It's now a notorious movie or well-regarded movie. But the fact that she left school to take a job is the reason why she lost her standing at UCLA Film School.
So the attitude that I'm getting from Laura Dern is that she presented it to, which I'm presuming is the dean, or no, he was the head department of the film school, and I think her idea was, I have an opportunity to work with an Oscar-nominated director. Can you, cut me a little bit of slack? I still want to go to school, but also I have this incredible opportunity. Can you save my spot, essentially?
Yeah,
I mean, if it was like just like some random indie film, I would understand that. But if you're going up to saying I have work with David Lynch, I would be like, well, take as much time as you need.
I would say you're back of the line. You're gone.
Back of the line.
Yeah, if you want to apply next year, you could apply next year, but this semester you're done.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because the rules apply to everybody, even as Joe Bridges again points out in the chat, she's Bruce Dern's daughter. This is nepotism. If you're just like, oh yeah, no big deal. Yeah, just come back whenever you want.
Do you think she was clouded by her father's?
Absolutely.
Oh,
and according to Joe, she was a working actress and she had been in many things since then.
Yeah,
maybe nothing as big.
No,
but yeah, if you're just like picking and choosing what you want to do. There are consequences to taking the job.
It's
a good story though. I will say it's a good story. Years later,
it's kind of painting Laura Dern in a different light.
Pisses me off. Now they're teaching this.
It's painting her in a different light because now it seems like she feels like she deserves to have a spot saved for her.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Yeah. How dare they? How dare they? Don't they know what they have in front of them?
She has such an attractive pun, but such a bad attitude.
I don't think anything negative less of her, but
I don't know. I kind of do
at this point, what was I going to say? We have what was I going to say? Joel says that your accent reminds him of Werner Herzog.
I kind of was channeling my
Your
Herzog.
your Herzog.
Yeah, Herzog. Yeah.
I have hold on, let me a second. Let me get this picture kind of set up here. I have my favorite Werner Herzog ism is this is a terrible impression of Werner, but it's what I think of whenever I think of Werner Herzog. Here we go.
Where to begin? Top left corner. Hidden somewhere in this noisy, chaotic morass of society is our fellow traveler, Waldo.
This is
unstuck from place and time.
This is Werner Herzog does Where's Waldo. He reads Where's Waldo.
Travels the world on foot. His only lifeline to his friends and family, a litany of dreary picture postcards sent from arbitrary locations the world over. His postcards do nothing to convey the humanity, the madness of Waldo's adventures. For that, we must go find him.
You must find
Waldo
Waldo.
leaves trinkets scattered behind him, shedding a wake of objects as he goes.
Oh my god.
What story do these leavings tell? They are a series of transmissions from the past, sent in a code we cannot decipher. Is that a scroll, or merely a rolled-up towel?
Oh my god.
After trying so hard to find the scroll, are we sure we can handle the real answer? Occasionally, Waldo is all but impossible to ferret out. Sometimes it seems like he's barely trying. At the ski slopes, I find him almost immediately. At the sea, I hunt until I am mad, and yet Waldo does not reveal himself to
Oh
me.
my god.
Oh, there he is. Hello, my little friend. Wait a moment. Who is that man with the beard? I have seen him before. Is he pursuing Waldo from place
wizard.
to place, country to country? Someone must
Oh
warn
my
our
God.
hero. What is everyone so preoccupied with at the airport that they miss the man of the hour right before them?
This is real.
Perhaps
This is
they
real
are
Werner
experiencing
Herzogisms.
a collective nightmare
That's-
of impending disaster.
Oh my
Who is
god.
Waldo's pursuer meeting this at the museum? If only I could warn Waldo of this conspiracy. His naivete will be his undoing, as it will be for each of us in turn.
Jesus.
Why all this travel? We search for Waldo, but what is Waldo searching for?
Oh my god.
Perhaps he is not searching at all, but running from something. Does this man even want to be found? Or, in searching for Waldo, did we really find ourselves? No, probably not.
Oh my.
This has been Where's Waldo. I'm Werner Herzog. Good.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That was funny.
That's what I think of whenever I think of Werner Herzog impressions. There is Waldo.
Yeah, that's great stuff, man.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Anyways, Laura Dern.
Yeah. Speaking of Werner, Laura Dern.
Anything else on that topic?
No. Speaking of Laura Dern, she did like a charity, I think a few weeks ago, or she's about to. She's selling her closet for charity.
Okay,
I was thinking about buying one of her dresses.
that's not weird at all. Yeah. That's not as creepy as when you.
I have a GoFundMe up right now. I'll post it up on the website.
I don't know which is creepier, that or when you were looking through Olivia Munn's family's photo albums.
Oh, that was Olivia Wilde.
Olivia Wilde.
Yeah.
Was it Olivia Wilde?
Yes, it was.
Tyler broke into Olivia Wilde's house.
I saw her prom pictures.
Allegedly, and looked through to her family photo album.
Statute of limitations.
Statue?
Statute of limitations.
Okay.
Statue.
I'd like to see that statue one day.
Anyways, that's all I got.
Okay, cool. Okay, so for my news stories, I have a couple of things. Let me get rid of that guy here. I have a few movies that I'm kind of excited about that are coming up, and I just kind of wanted to spotlight them for a moment. Let me pull up my notes here. Where are they? There we go. Here we are. Okay, so the first one is a upcoming Brendan Fraser movie, the Brendan Fraser Renaissance continues, and he's set to play Dwight D. Eisenhower in a D-Day movie called Pressure, which is about basically, as you can imagine, the landing of Normandy on D-Day. So he's been set to play Supreme Allied Commander Dwight D. Eisenhower in a working title and Studio Canal's upcoming D-Day movie Pressure. He joins Andrew Scott, who was revealed Friday, will be starring in the drama about the tense days leading up to the Normandy landing. And I still haven't seen Killers of a Flower Moon.
I don't really have an interest in seeing that one.
I feel like I need to,
Why?
because it's
Because you have one.
because it's Scorsese
Yeah.
and it's Brendan Fraser
Yeah.
and it's Lily Gladstone.
I forgot he was in that.
Who?
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, that was like the beginning of his renaissance. It was
I
like
thought that was The Whale.
It was like he got cast in The Whale and
Killers
at the same time. Before I don't think Killers even had a title.
Oh, yeah.
It was just the upcoming Scorsese movie.
Yeah.
And it was like he's working with Aronofsky and Scorsese. Fraser is back.
That was a big deal when that first news broke.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyways, so the funny thing is I saw a crude Photoshop of Brendan Fraser as Dwight Eisenhower. And at first I kind of laughed at it. And then I thought, actually, you know what? I think I could actually see it.
I mean, the side-by-side photo you can see in this news article, you can see it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a little bit younger than Dwight Eisenhower, but I can see it. I just
What do you think? What do you think about biopics in general, Tyler?
I mean, I don't know really. Would you call Lords of Dogtown a biopic of
I don't know what that is.
Lords of Dogtown, the skate movie with Heath Ledger?
I mean, I'm aware of that, but
you never seen it?
No.
Oh, okay.
You know what? Heath Ledger skating movie. I think I might have seen that a long time ago, but
that was my childhood.
Oh, cool.
But would you say Walk the Line is
Walk the
one?
Line absolutely is, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like it really depends on how well made it is. I'm trying to think of one that I didn't like. I wasn't really too keen on the Doors one. I thought the only redeeming factor is that Val Kilmer killed it as Jim Morrison, but the movie itself wasn't really that great. Can't think of another one.
I'm just gonna let you flounder for a little bit.
Yeah, I can't think of another one. I mean, I know there's probably more that I've seen, but I'm not really interested in biopics.
All right. I think they can be great. I think they're easy to digest movies that teach you about somebody that you have heard of, but maybe not know a whole lot about.
Yeah.
So I think that presidential history is one of the more fascinating things. I think what made a person become president, who they were beforehand, who they became afterwards, and the stuff they did during it.
Yeah.
And I know Eisenhower, I don't know if this D-Day, was he the president during
I thought he was
it?
just like a general.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he was a general during D-Day, and then he became the president afterwards.
Yeah.
So I don't know a ton about presidential history, but everything I hear about it is really fascinating to me. So,
well, I'm excited. I mean,
yeah, I think it's cool.
Brendan Fraser is a fine actor.
Yeah,
Hopefully he can really hit it out of the park though with this one. I feel like he's kind of stagnant. I have the clips that I've seen from The Whale. It's
you haven't seen it yet still?
No, I've only seen clips of it, but from what I have seen, it's just kind of average.
You cannot judge a movie based off of clips that you've seen, unless it's a clip from Cats. Cats is terrible. So next up, a movie that I think a lot of people love. I really love. The one of my more favorite Keanu Reeves movies, Constantine.
Oh,
there was rumors 2 years ago in 2022 that he was going to come back for Constantine, and they kind of died off mainly because there was a huge change in all of the brass in the WB.
Yeah,
and apparently it's back. Constantine is back on the table. And Keanu Reeves is back in the captain's chair.
I just hope he's not going to do some sort of John Wick bit with Constantine.
Why would he?
Because that's kind of what he's been doing for the past half decade.
I mean, in John Wick movies, but has he done a John Wick shtick outside of John Wick?
I would imagine. Has he? Okay.
I think
I'm off base here.
Yeah, why would he bring that movie franchise into a different franchise?
No, I'm not talking about the literal franchise going into Constantine, but the shoot 'em up and just overall action. Because with the first Constantine, it was really interesting with the biblical references. Like it wasn't all action. There's a lot of
Well, that's the
like
point. That's the point of that.
exposition and
That's the point of that movie. It's mainly like he's like a
he's like a
theological crusader.
Yeah.
You know, he understands that heaven and hell exists, but doesn't believe in God or something like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't
And-
believe him in like I don't believe in you. Like I don't support you.
Yeah, and
sort
also
of thing.
and also the movie Constantine has the best representation of Lucifer.
Yeah, Peter Stormare.
Yeah. Oh my God, that scene where he like blows in through the room. Mm-hmm. Ah man, so good. And you know, like when he's coming down from the ceiling and like the tar is coming from his feet. That was Stromare's idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was his idea.
Interesting. So his last few movies he's made after John Wick Chapter 3, he did Always Be My Maybe, which I believe is a romance movie. He was Duke Kaboom in Toy Story 4. He was in the Between Two Ferns movie. He did SpongeBob the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run, Bill and Ted Face the Music, Cyberpunk 2077, the video game, Matrix Resurrections.
Who could forget that one?
DC, which one?
The Matrix.
Oh, fuck, I hate that movie. Sucked. DC League of Super Pets, and then John Wick Chapter 4. So he had a ton of stuff between 3 and 4.
Yeah.
I think that's just kind of what people shorthand think of him now. But
It's that long hair, that long greasy hair.
yeah, he's going to have to cut it for Constantine.
Yeah.
So there was the actual producer for Constantine, the first one, was interviewed at Comic-Con that just recently happened. His name is Lorenzo Di Bonaventura. Great name.
Yeah.
He says, well, there's been little public movement regarding Constantine 2, that he assured us that the script isn't that far away. Quote, the script is being written now, and it's not that far away. I mean, we've got to get a good script. We're starting great because the movie star that everybody wants to be in business with wants this character again. So there's a lot of room in that franchise to do this sort of soul-searching, crazy, quasi-religious that made the first movie so satisfying. And it doesn't surprise me at all that Keanu wants to do it so bad. So it looks like it's happening. Again, I'm not going to hold my breath for it because it's been supposedly happening for 2 years now. But a little bit more on the horizon, so that's cool.
I mean, I was gonna bring up this news story, but I decided to axe it. They're in talks of doing a new Spawn movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think there's kind of like this sort of revitalization of these older franchises. Well, I wouldn't even call it a franchise, but these older like superhero movies, but before they were called superhero movies that people want to see again, like Constantine and Spawn. People have been clamoring for a Spawn movie for a long, long time, including myself.
Yeah.
And Constantine too. Like I remember back, this movie came out in 2006.
I still think that the Spawn movie is like on the edge of production.
Yeah.
Because Todd McFarlane is the guy in charge of it. He's like the creator of Spawn, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I still see people tweeting at him with news stories. Like,
Where's the movie?
No, like small indie directors saying, because the project's been looking for a director for a while, supposedly. And they're tweeting at him like, I'm right here.
Yeah.
Hire me. The guy, Stephen C. Miller, who directs that werewolf movie coming out next year, we've talked about it a couple times on the show. He tweeted at him. Basically, like,
man.
I'm right here, dude. Come get me. I'm like literally put me in, coach. So, anyways, okay, so that's Constantine. Next up movie that I'm excited about is a movie called Friendship. And this is starring two people that I didn't know I wanted in a movie together, which is Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd.
And if you're seeing the screenshot that's on the screen right now, once you see it instant chemistry.
Yeah.
Instant chemistry.
The problem is, I don't think that this is actually a movie about friendship. I looked at here's the synopsis from IMDb. It's listed as a comedy from writer-director Andrew DeYoung, and it says, when new neighbor Brian threatens his quiet life, Craig Waterman struggles to protect his family's security.
Okay, so this is kind of like a Cable Guy sort of situation.
I was going to say, I think this is probably like your next door neighbor who's super weird and creepy, and he's imposing himself into your family, and you're trying your best to keep your family safe and also distance yourself without being like
rude,
upsetting this guy who might be unstable. And it's impossible that Tim Robinson is the stable one in this relationship.
I don't know. It could go. I mean, just based on the picture alone, it definitely seems like Paul Rudd is going to be the family man.
I mean, we'll see.
But
Tim Robinson is a freaking weirdo, but Paul Rudd with a mustache, as we saw in Mute, can be very intimidating.
yes,
So
it's a crapshoot.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so I'll give you just a little bit about the director. Andrew DeYoung is his name. He's done a lot of TV, high fidelity TV show, Dave, the TV show starring Lil Dicky. Directed The Babysitter's Club, a couple episodes of that. TV series Shrill, 6 episodes of that. Pen 15, I Love You for That. A lot of series. And then Would It Kill You to Laugh, a TV special, an hour-long special, which is, I don't know exactly what this is about, but it's from a couple years ago. It's like the only thing that does not TV, like a serialized thing in his entire
So he's
filmography.
sticking his toe into the film world.
Yeah, I guess so. So
Right.
we'll see. He's a writer, he's a director, but he's got 32 directing credits and 9 writing credits.
Did it say a release date?
No,
It's just in works.
This is this still that you're seeing on screen is not. It's not. This is the first still that's been released from this, so we don't know anything really about it. But excuse me. But yeah, just seeing Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd together is made my day.
Yeah, same.
So that's all that we have, and I guess now it's time for Streamy Picks.
Movies.
Wanna watch a movie?
Yes, I do.
Disney Plus, HBO Max.
If I don't get the pick, show's over.
I have grown accustomed to Hulu Plus.
Amazon Prime? I like Netflix.
You found the pick.
Streaming Picks, movies that we watched this week on our streaming services that you can watch too. Tyler, lead us off.
All right. I'm just going to preface this here that I work 12 to 13 hours every day this week. So I didn't really have the energy to watch any movie that I wasn't familiar with because I knew I'd fall asleep. So I put on a comfort.
I don't understand that. Like,
What?
if it's a movie you're familiar with, it's easier to fall asleep because you already know what's happening.
Well, I mean, it's just like yeah, exactly. Because because if I'm going to be watching a movie that I haven't seen before, I want to stay up for it instead of like being like.
So what you're saying is you planned on falling asleep to these movies.
I knew I would because I was scrolling movies that I wanted to watch that I hadn't seen before. But as soon as I got home, like I sat in my computer chair and like I was already nodding, like as soon as like I was like scrolling for movies.
Yeah.
And so,
well, what I'm saying is when you say that, you're saying that you planned on falling asleep to these movies.
well, it's not planned. It's just like I already know what's going to happen. It's not a plan. It's like I don't plan on sitting at my computer desk and saying, okay, I'm going to fall asleep to this movie.
When you watch these movies, do you just put the speakers on and take your headphones off?
No, I have I don't have any speakers.
So you're still sitting in front of the computer and intently watching the movie.
But if I'm like nodding off, like I can just like listen to it, you know. But if I'm watching a movie that I haven't watched before, like I want to have like my full attention instead of just kind of like dozing off a little bit.
If wouldn't that force you to stay awake though? To watch the movies if it's a new.
I physically couldn't keep my head up sometimes.
So again, you're planning on falling asleep.
That's not a plan. That's not a plan. How am I? You're implying I am premeditated.
Yeah,
it's not a premeditation.
I'm not saying that you're going out of your way to fall asleep to them, but you know it's going to happen, so you're planning for it.
Sure. I mean,
okay, I just want to know.
That's a good way to put it.
I just want to know because I have those movies too.
So
I watched the first half of Shrek 2 about 100 times.
So typically when I get home, I like to read, but I think it was on Tuesday. I worked like a 13-hour day. I came home. I was so demoralized from that day because it was over 105. And I sat on my computer chair, fully nude.
Of course.
And I was looking through Amazon Prime. And I was already kind of nodding off a little bit, but I thought to myself, you know what? I don't want to read because as soon as I read the first paragraph of this book that I'm in, I'm just going to fall asleep. And so I thought to myself,
that's why I don't read because I just fall asleep.
Yeah, it's when you like read that helps me fall asleep. So I saw the 40-Year-Old Virgin after work on Tuesday, and I think I stream picked it probably a few months ago. I had to have, but I couldn't remember. But it came up on my For You feed on Amazon Prime, which is where it's streaming. And oh my God, that movie is so funny. It's there. I would say, like, as a movie as a whole, it's just okay. But some of the bits that Judd Apatow like incorporated throughout the movie, they're so standalone and so funny. Like, it makes it watchable. The overall plot is, I wasn't.
You don't
really,
like the plot?
Not really.
I think it's super sweet
I didn't really like the
and
plot.
relatable. You're a virgin too, right? Just a couple of virgins on this show.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
It's been so long, my virginity grew back.
I didn't know it could grow back.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like a vestigial appendage.
Jesus. But so to bring back, to go full circle with my example, I could just, like, when it got to the serious parts of the movie, that's when, like, my head was like tilted back and I was like just listening to it. But when it got to like the funny bits, especially like the poker game scene, that whole sequence of events, that was really funny. That had my attention. And then nod back out. Go back into where I can't remember the Brooklyn guy and the black guy. They're arguing over a sale.
That's Kevin Hart.
That's not. No, well, yeah, Kevin Hart is in that. But who's that other guy? I'm not gonna even look it up right now.
Wait,
But
you're talking about the scene where he's the.
I was gonna well, that one too. What
scene?
It's the one where the Brooklyn guy, he's like, this is a Brooklyn accent. This is not Indian.
Oh yeah,
where he was stealing the sale from the other guy. He was like, I was just going into the back to get her a brochure. That was really funny. Who's it? Judd Apatow's wife. What's her name again?
Elizabeth Banks.
Elizabeth Banks.
Is that Judd Apatow's wife?
No.
I don't know who he's married to. In real life?
Yes, in real life.
Jane Lynch, a lesbian.
Okay. Anyways, where she's in her PT Cruiser and she's super drunk, like running into the cars.
Oh, that's Amy something man. Leslie Mann.
Leslie Mann. Yeah,
that's Judd Apatow's wife in real life?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And
we should get some fucking French toast.
French toast.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So I mean, like, I like that movie because it's kind of like it's almost like Anchorman in a way, where there's funny scenes, but the overall picture is just not really that great. And so that's kind of compelled me to put it on, was because I could watch the funny scenes, like be a little bit lucid for it, and then like nod back out, listen to the movie, go back in, nod back, and then movie's over. I'm just like, okay.
I'm glad you're dedicating so much time to this show.
I'm dedicating my sleep.
Okay, got it. Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's the only movie I watched this week.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I have had my nose in this book for the past like 2 weeks now. And so it's kind of, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I've been resting on my laurels. I need to get back on the movie train.
Man, that's fine. You got one. And you hit the one. You hit the requirement.
It's funny too, because I was thinking about this on one of my routes the other day. So in my infancy and adolescence of getting into film, I was watching movies all the time, all the time, just like any which way I could watch it. And then I got into like the metaphorical adulthood of my movie consumption.
Okay.
And it started dwindling a little bit. Now I would say I'm in the midlife crisis of my movie consumption.
Okay.
But I think there's a sunrise coming on the horizon right now, and I'm gonna start watching more. I really need to get on my Kurosawa binge because I've been meaning to watch.
If you are having a hard time staying awake for like a new blockbuster movie, you are gonna have a really hard time watching Kurosawa movies.
I know. Maybe I should just develop a Coke habit.
Or just have a healthy sleep habit. What time do you go to work every day?
So Mondays I get to work by 9:30, and then Tuesday through Friday I get to work at 11:15.
So what do you do in the morning? From the time you wake up to the time you have to leave for work?
No, don't worry about what I do in the mornings.
Well, there you go. There's every morning. I would love if I didn't have to be at work till 11 a.m. and I could watch a movie in the morning.
Yeah, well, no, I kind of do mine. Well, anyways, we're not talking about my work habits.
I don't know. I think we are talking about your work habits.
But yeah, that's all I got for this week.
All right. Okay, so I'm gonna go through some of mine. I had a pretty good week of movie watching. Why is this in there twice? Uh-oh. Did I lose one? Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, got it. All right, so I had a pretty good movie watching week. First off, I'm going to start with a short. This is from the most beloved Jim Cummings, not the guy that voices Winnie the Pooh, the guy that did Thunder Road and The Wolf of Snow Hollow and The Beta Test. He also made the short called The Last Brunch.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, he wasn't.
That one was funny.
He wasn't in it, but he directed it.
Yeah.
I think he wrote and directed it or something. Maybe him and PJ Combs or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
One of his collaborators. But Jim Cummings is a very interesting indie filmmaker. And he's become this like champion for like just get out there and make the movie.
Right.
Just go make the movie. Stop making excuses.
Warts and all.
Go make the movie. Yeah. Even if it sucks, just make the movie because then that'll lead you to make the next movie.
Yeah.
And his last movie, The Last Brunch, it featured some pornography viewing during brunch. Yeah. And it was the nuances of the character was so funny, and you're like, what is this?
It was.
It's so.
It's an outrageous short.
So this is even more outrageous.
Oh no.
In a darker way.
Okay.
So this is the darkest of humor. It's 11 minutes long. You can find it on YouTube. You just type in "is now a good."
Oh, okay.
Is now a good time is the name of the short, and I saw this being kind of promoted on Twitter for a long time before it was actually released by Cummings, and the font for the poster is clearly like Marvel based. It looks like the MCU font. It's like red block, big block with 3D, imaging, with like a gold, leaf around it. Mm-hmm. And everyone is kind of thinking, are you selling out? Are you going to Marvel Disney? Are you going to go work for Marvel Disney or something?
Are you selling out?
Yeah, because I mean, he's an indie guy, and we're thinking, I mean, if you are, good for you. You can make a bunch of money or whatever. But I hope you're still making the interesting, weird shit that you're making.
Yeah.
And Is Now a Good Time is it's only 11 minutes, so I'm not going to talk a ton about it. But he's basically, you ever hear those stories where they're like, oh, little Jonathan from Temecula was stricken with Lou Gehrig's disease, and he only had a month left to live, and Marvel let him see the new Spider-Man movie 6 months before it actually came out.
Yeah.
And they just bring the laptop to him, and they go watch the movie before he passes.
Yeah.
It's like great PR, and it's this interesting kind of concept or whatever. And however you feel about that, it's a kind of a complex idea that they do, right?
Right.
It's a little bit weird when you really dig into it, but it's also kind of heartwarming.
Yeah.
So this explores the guy that brings the laptop to the house. Jim Cummings plays that guy.
Yes.
And I will leave it at that.
I love it.
It is a scathing takedown of corporate life, and it's a very like cynical criticism, but it punches up.
Yeah.
Where if you're making fun of somebody and you're punching down, it doesn't really hold a whole lot of weight.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel Disney is about as high as you can punch up. And if there's any guesses or thoughts that he might be working for Disney at some point or Marvel at some point, never again. It will never happen after this. Never.
I mean, you recommended me The Last Brunch, so
you liked it?
I loved it. I got to check this out.
We'll watch it after this.
Yeah, awesome.
Because we'll watch it on the break. It's so funny. Oh my God, it's so funny. So anyway, so that's just look it up on YouTube. We'll have a link in the show notes or the description on YouTube. Okay, next one up. This is on my quest to watch all of the Coen Brothers movies. I watched Intolerable Cruelty from 2003. This is starring George Clooney and Catherine Zeta-Jones. It's streaming on Stars, but it's like a $4 rental or a $3 rental anywhere. So I rented this, and there was the plot of this is that George Clooney is a high dollar lawyer who specializes in divorce law, and he has this prenup that he has designed. He wrote up that is ironclad. It is impossible to break. If you have his prenup, you cannot get out of it. Like your spouse will get nothing during the divorce.
Dang.
So, and Catherine Zeta-Jones is divorcing her husband after he's caught cheating and caught on camera cheating, and George Clooney is representing her husband, her soon-to-be ex-husband. And she is very calculating. She's doing this on purpose. It is all planned to get this money, marry this guy and get this money. And you're thinking, how can he get her nothing and keep all this guy's money for him? And the way that it plays out is pretty fantastic. There's a great courtroom scene that is one of the funniest scenes I've seen in years, where they bring in this baron. I'm not even going to ruin it. It's worth seeking out and watching, because there were scenes in this that were some of the funniest scenes I've seen in a long time. After that courtroom scene with the baron, I thought that this might be the funniest movie of the 2000s that no one's ever seen. And I'm sure people have seen it, but it just doesn't get talked about very much. I mean, it's Coen Brothers. It's not like it's an unknown director. Yeah. But it just doesn't keep up that pace for the whole movie. There's a lot of lulls and a lot of just kind of exposition that took too long to get to the point. But it's similar to, and it's very similar to the Hudsucker Proxy, which I talked about last week or the week before. Yeah. Where there's a handful of amazing scenes and some engaging characters, and a lot of people have really fun quirks, as you might expect from a Coen Brothers movie, but it's very uneven. So that's like a 3.5 star movie for me. It's still really, really good. Bruce says, Tyler, tell me a style of movie you want to watch, and I'll get you a good first watch.
Style?
Good, like genre, style, whatever.
Noir.
Okay. Kid Detective. Already, I trumped Bruce. Don't give your hopes up, Bruce. He's going to let you down. He's not going to do it. He's promised. I can't even count how many times you've promised me you're going to watch a movie that I recommend, and then you don't. And then I cry myself to sleep every night. Every night.
You're weeping?
Yeah, my pillow is soaked with the tears of your empty promises. So anyways, that's Intolerable Cruelty. Very, very, very fun watch and a comedic watch. Okay. The next one up from 2020, a COVID movie called Host, H-O-S-T, Host. And this is it's set from the perspective of a Zoom conference call. The entire thing you see is the interface of a Zoom conference call.
That's the whole movie?
It's the whole movie. And as far as COVID movies go, small budgets, cast can't be together, COVID protocols, everybody has to film their stuff separately or whatever in different rooms or different places and different buildings. Yeah. This is one of the more well done and inventive versions of that.
Looks like a horror movie.
It is a horror movie.
Okay.
So this is directed by Rob Savage, again from 2020. The synopsis says, 6 friends hire a medium to hold a seance via Zoom during lockdown. But they get far more than they bargained for as things go quickly wrong. When an evil spirit starts invading their homes, they begin to realize they might not survive the night. So, when this movie, and the other thing too, this is really interesting about this movie, it's like 50 minutes long, or like 48 minutes long or something like that. Oh. It's super short. And you find out why, and this is not a spoiler, but when it gets to the end, it's like your free version of Zoom only takes a 45-minute call.
Oh my God.
Do you want to update? And the countdown clock on Zoom that you get starts ticking down, and that's the end of the movie.
Oh, that's clever.
It's super. So this movie is full of stuff like that. It's like really clever because like, you know how Snapchat has filters built in for faces and things, and it like recognizes your face, and then it'll put like a snake
Or like
skin.
dog ears. Or
Dog
something.
ear, yeah, dog ears, or like snake skin with the tongue comes out every time you open your mouth.
Yeah.
So have you ever seen those videos where someone's doing a selfie of themselves like that?
Oh, in the background.
In the background, you see like a face.
Yeah,
It uses that as a device in the movie. There's a, you know, when someone says something or a noise happens, it like highlights that screen, and that becomes like the focus screen on the Zoom call. It uses that as a device. So all these like real technology things that you and I are now aware of because we were on Zoom calls, potentially on and off for years. And I do Zoom and Teams meetings and shit like that all the time at work. And then through, you know, this podcast when I'm going on a guest host on a show or have other people guest on this show.
Yeah.
So Zoom is very familiar to me and to a lot of people. And this was a really, really inventive use of that.
Yeah.
There's some legitimate scares. There's some jump scares that are not too cheesy. There's an actual dreadful force that was intimidating and effective. It kind of reminded me of like the same vibe that I got from Paranormal Activity.
Okay.
Where you're like, I can see this in my house and freaking out from this thing's happening in my house because it's just set in these like 6 people's friends' apartments.
Right.
One guy has a house and the other one's their apartments, and it's also British. So,
British.
Yeah, it's from I think they're in London, but it's really good. It's much better than I was expecting. We started it up, and Brianna and I didn't know anything about it, and I'm like, is this going to be good? I don't know. This looks kind of cheesy. I don't know if this is any good.
Based on the premise and when it came out, I could totally see like how someone could be disinterested in a movie like this. But I'm glad it worked.
Yeah, and this one is streaming. Let me see where it's streaming here. I'll get you guys the scoop. Shudder, Hoopla, and AMC Plus. Yeah, this is it's a really good Shudder movie. So it's not a movie that like when we first started watching it, I'm like, I don't know. This is kind of janky.
Apprehensive.
Yeah, it just didn't. I don't know. It just didn't seem. It didn't seem like what I was hoping for, and it got really good really fast. So that's Host from 2020. I would recommend that one. Next up, we have a movie that I've been waiting to see for a while. It's I don't know if it's actually A24, if it just feels like it's A24. But this is Rose Glass's follow-up to Saint Maud, Love Lies Bleeding.
So, that's the Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart. Yes, that's absolutely.
Isn't she dating her co-star now in real life?
I would hope so.
This was a very divisive movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like it.
Do you have you seen it?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I haven't. I just know that there's a reputation that precedes it.
It's what reputation is that? What have you heard?
Well, I've heard that it's not good. The writing's bad.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't get any of that at all.
I mean, that's just what I've read. Like, I'm not presuming like it is a bad movie.
Sure,
But
sure.
I know maybe it was just homophobes.
It could be.
Like,
I mean, there's definitely. I mean, it's a lesbian relationship, and it's Lou is the main character, that's Kristen Stewart, and her co-star is Katie O'Brien, who I don't know if she's actually an actress or an actor, but she was an actual bodybuilder, and somebody tagged her on Instagram saying that Rose Glass is making this movie about a muscle mommy, and you should go audition.
Oh, God.
And
muscle mom.
And this Katie O'Brien is stunning in this.
Yeah.
Like visually, charismatically, her performance is freaking phenomenal.
Good.
It is really, really good. And every time I see Kristen Stewart in something new, I just have more and more respect for her.
Yeah.
Because she's come a long way from the sweeping the hair out of your eyes and unsuredly, eyes darting about every time you talk to her, and every performance looks the same. She's now in a much more confident.
I was going to say,
abilities.
definitely confident.
Yeah, her acting skills have leveled up. She's really phenomenal in this, and her dad in this movie is played by Ed Harris, and he's a certified creep. He is really, really creepy in this movie. He's got the bald head, and his hair that he can't grow on the side like Costanza is.
Oh, so he has the horseshoe,
but it's super long. it's like past his nipples. And sometimes he pulls it in a ponytail, but when he's got it straight down, it's like this blonde, long skullet.
Oh, it's blonde.
It's a blonde skullet. Yeah, it's pretty rough. And they're in New Mexico, and she's Lou, Kristen Stewart's character is she just works at a gym. And she sees Katie O'Brien blow into town one day, and she starts working out, and she's just like gooning over in the corner watching her.
Damn.
Well, yeah, she's like, "Damn girl, what's up?" And she offers her some steroids, and the rest is history.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, you'd be surprised how many people actually use steroids nowadays.
I know. It's very prevalent in our society.
Yeah, especially in that culture, that like body lifting culture,
Yeah.
And the whole point is Katie O'Brien's she's traveling across the country from Oklahoma to Las Vegas to go compete in a fitness competition, bodybuilding competition.
Oh, okay.
So she's trying to beef up, That's why she gives it the roids. But yeah, this is phenomenal. It's really, really good. There's a little bit of like fantastical mysticism kind of in and out where, you get some camera shots of her after she takes some roids, and it's like her arms bulge up huge like the Hulk. Yeah. And you're like, is that really happening?
These are some really good steroids.
Oh, this shit's good.
We got the good stuff.
But yeah, there's some supporting characters that are really good in this. Dave Franco's in this. He's a piece of shit in this too.
Not surprised.
Yeah, I know. He's anyways, Love Lies Bleeding. Really, really worth your time. Let me see where that's. Love Lies Bleeding. There it is. I lost it. Okay, let's see where it's streaming for you guys. It's on Max.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
very accessible.
I think a lot of people will have Max.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the next best one. Next up, this is a new movie also from this year called Thelma. Have you heard of this one, Tyler?
I have not.
Okay, so Thelma is not streaming anywhere. You got to rent it. It's a $10 rental.
Jeez.
Yeah. I rented it mainly because Jason Kleberg from Forest 5 really recommended it. He says it's one of his favorite movies of the year. And I never heard of it before, so I thought, okay, well, I gotta do something about it. I gotta watch this movie. I can't not watch this. What do you want me to do? Not watch this? Thelma 2024. Let me make sure I got this set up for you guys here. There we go. So Thelma is a character, the title character. She's played by June Squibb, who is a character actress that you've probably seen before. She always plays like an old woman. She's a little kind of heavy set. She plays Hubie's mom in Hubie Halloween. She's been in a billion things, and she's like 87 in real life or 84 in real life or something like that. Yeah. And she just plays this really sweet old lady grandma who lives alone at home. Her husband died some years ago, and her family is a little bit worried about her. Her mom, her daughter is Parker Posey, and her son-in-law is Clark Gregg, the guy from the Marvel movies who works for S.H.I.E.L.D. And her grandson is this really kind of sweet, kind of a little bit of a screw up, a little bit of a stoner, kind of like meandering through life, but very, very clear that he has a great relationship with Grandma Thelma.
Yeah.
Visits her a lot, and they do a lot of fun things together and at home because she can't drive anymore. And long story short, Thelma is the victim of a phishing scam where she sends $5,000 to the scammer. Scammer calls and says that you have Bruce says, Pete, how awesome was Lou's stalker in Love Lies Bleeding? That's Lou is Kristen Stewart's character. She's got this another girl that really loves her, and she reminds me of like Dakota Fanning from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
Grimy and creepy, but more sweet than like evil.
Yeah.
And yeah, she was great too. I can't remember the actress's name, but anyways. So Thelma sends this $5,000 to the scammer because the scammer calls and says, pretends to be her grandson.
Yeah.
And it's like, Grandma, I got in a car accident and they tell me they're going to throw me in jail unless I, send them money for court fees. And can you do that? And she sends like $5,000 cash to them. And the family kind of finds out about it and they file a police report and they're like, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
You sent money to these people. I mean, where do you send it? She's like, go to a P.O. box. They're like, nothing we can do.
Yeah.
So she takes it. She says, I'm not going to take this. I'm gonna get justice.
I'm gonna take justice in my own hands.
She does, and so she decides to go find this PO box, which happens to be crosstown in Van Nuys, and she doesn't have means to get there, so she walks to the rest home where one of her friends is, another old man.
Did she get on a rascal?
She steals his scooter, and that whole sequence is fantastic. And she basically decides to go to this P.O. box to confront the person who scammed her. Mm-hmm. And you're like, when you get there and you're in your head, you're thinking as the audience, you're like, okay, Thelma, you're going to get to this P.O. box and then what? Wait for days until this guy shows up. And then what?
Yeah.
You're an old lady who can barely, get yourself around.
Walk.
She can walk. She can't walk. She can't drive though.
Oh yeah.
And half of the fun of the movie is, you're really invested in it because you're like, I have a grandma like that, or I know a grandma like that. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine her going on this mission, and I would feel very afraid for her and frightened for her when she gets to the end of her mission. If she's successful, then what? It's all the stakes are high. I mean, and the stakes are low. It's not like the world's ending or someone's dying or whatever, but you're like, she could get hurt. She could be taken advantage of in a different way or injured.
In a different way.
Yeah, like maybe they punch her, maybe they beat her up, maybe they push her down or something, and she breaks a hip.
Yeah.
So now she's out $5,000 and has a broken hip. Now she can't live at home anymore. Now she's be put in a rest home, and it's like all these simple things. So the beauty of this movie is that it's treated like an action movie.
Okay.
So at one point, they have to go to a friend's house. They're going to go. She knows one of her friends still lives at home and refuses to go to a rest home. And she's 90-something. Mm-hmm. And she knows that she has a gun. And she's like, we need to go get...
She's going to pack steel.
Yeah, we need to go get, Carol's gun. Mm-hmm. So they go visit Carol's house. And it's played like a caper, like a Mission Impossible style caper. Okay. But all she has to do is go upstairs, stand on the bed, and go to the shoebox on top of the armoire.
Yeah.
But it's like her rolling across the bed is like, and she stands up there and drops the gun, and that's a whole thing. And it's like, it's really sweet because, I mean, watching actors in their twilight years is a different type of special,
Yeah. Yeah.
And June Squibb's been around forever. She also the movie is also starring Richard Roundtree, who played the original Shaft.
Oh, wow.
And he's been around forever, and this was his final movie before he passed away from cancer. But yeah, great career he had, and this is just a really, really fantastic final movie. Very different than the stuff he was doing, back then. But he's been in like so many things, and the movie's chock full of great elderly actors doing really, really great work. So do you know the scene in I Think You Should Leave where they do it's like a focus group and there's that creepy guy, he's like foreign. He's also got a skullet.
Yeah.
He's saying all that weird stuff. He's in this movie.
Oh, he is?
Yeah,
Nice.
he's one of the rest home people. They meet in the rest home. But yeah, Fred Henchinger is the grandson. And he looks really familiar, but I can't tell you anything he's been in, but he's in the new Gladiator movie. And he's phenomenal in this. His whole family, him and his mom and dad, freaking out about how grandma's missing, and he's the one that lost her because he drove her to the nursing home, and then she took off on the fucking scooter. Yeah. So he's freaking out that he's a fuck up and he does everything wrong, and he lost grandma, and his mom and dad, their whole relationship is great.
This sounds like a really fun movie.
It's really, really good. So this is like 4.5-star movie, maybe even a 5-star movie. Really, really good. All right, Bruce has your marching orders. The two noirs, both from the Coen brothers. Blood Simple and The Man That Wasn't There. I think you'd like The Man That Wasn't There more if I had to choose.
The Man That Wasn't There.
Yeah, it's black and white. It's Billy Bob Thornton.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, really, really good. Really, really good. Okay, so anyways, I'm moving on to my final streaming pick. This is a movie that's been talked about a lot. It's been almost universal praise. It is a Luca Guadagnino's follow-up to Bones and All. This is Challengers. It's a tennis movie that is really more about the relationship between two friends and their would-be female compatriot who also is a tennis pro, or at some point during the movie, a tennis pro. And they are essentially in this weird love triangle with her. Do you know anything about this one, Tyler?
I can't. I mean, the name sounds familiar, but yeah, it does look familiar. I haven't. I know of it, but
Okay.
I don't know anything about it. I do recognize the poster and title.
Yeah, and it's a great poster, by the way. So I'm actually gonna update this one real quick. So Luca Guadagnino, I don't know, like I was always kind of opposed to this movie, like I was adverse to this in a way. I don't know why, but I was kind of thinking, this is not for me. Call Me by Your Name, loved it. The new Suspiria, loved that.
Yes.
What was the other one he did? I can't remember now. But Bones and All is another one. I haven't watched it yet. I'm trying to get Brianna to watch it with me, but it's about cannibalism, and that's one of her biggest.
Oh, Raw?
No, Raw is Julia Ducournau. But anyways, everything I've seen from Luca has been great. I don't know why I doubted this. This is a phenomenal movie. American Fiction and Challengers are the two movies I can recall of recent memory that the script really jumped out at me, that this is a phenomenal script. And again, we've talked about this on the show, but it's written by Justin Kuritzkis, the guy, the potion seller guy, and wife of Celine Song, who did Past Lives, or husband of Celine Song, who did Past Lives. And it's kind of touted as a really horny movie and a sexual movie, but it's really not that sexual. There's a couple of kind of very in-your-face sexual moments, and it's a love triangle, and there's a point where they're all three involved.
Yeah.
And that scene, there's a shot from that scene that is used in the marketing, and they only show you that one shot of her like sitting back on the bed, like looking back and watching, and you're like, that's a cool shot. She looked kind of menacing there. The reality of what that scene is so funny, and it's so calculating and menacing, and like she's just completely playing these guys against each other for her own gain. And that's the whole movie. The other thing about this movie is it spans decades of their life.
Decades, okay.
Yeah, I want to say it's like a 15-year span of their life.
Okay.
So it starts when they're young and they're not pros yet, and she's still in high school getting ready to go to college, but she's already recognized as like this phenom and just got sponsored by Adidas, and she's deciding to go to college instead of going straight to pro, and they're like young pros trying to go big into the big circuit. And the entire movie culminates to a match between the two guys. And I'm not a big tennis fan. I think it's fine. It's really fun to play. The few times that I have played it, it's very fun. But I don't follow tennis. I couldn't name any of the modern players, anybody who's big now.
What about the two twin sisters,
Serena and Venus Williams?
Yeah, I don't know if they're modern though.
No, I don't even know if they're both playing anymore. But like John McEnroe, sure, Pete Sampras, Andre Agassi, the big ones, the classics.
Yeah.
I could name. On Anna Kournikova, Djokovic. I don't know his first name. I just like his name because it's
Seems
funny.
like you're really into tennis.
No, these are just kind of like household names for tennis players. But all that being said, the reason I'm bringing that up is this movie made me care about a single match of tennis so deeply that I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was like, I really invested to the outcome of this tennis match. Hey, new yo-yo players in.
New yo-yo.
New yo-yo. What's up, buddy?
Yo.
He says, Bones and All is solid. Challengers has so much momentum. I loved it. Yeah, the momentum is palpable. And I'll just read my my Letterboxd review. I didn't think this was going to be for me, but I loved Call Me By Your Name, so I don't know why I was resistant to challengers. But damn, this is a fantastically written script with some truly dynamic and impressive camera work. I can't even imagine where one would start when writing it. And it's Justin Kuritzka's first feature script to top it off. Each of the three leads are giving top-notch performances that vary appropriately throughout the story. I feel like Zendaya leveled up in this role. I laughed, I sweated. I actually cared about the final match for a game that I don't follow. Luca really does have so much talent and control, which is 100% true.
Yeah.
The score from Atticus Ross and guy from Nine Inch Nails,
Trent Reznor.
Score from them is really, really
they
fantastic.
scored this movie?
Oh
Nice.
yeah, it's great. I didn't mention it in my review because that's pretty much what everybody talks about in their review. But the score for this, it doesn't seem like it belongs. And there were a couple of moments where I was kind of surprised they were putting in that score into some of the scenes. So I think I'm gonna have to rewatch this to really get most of it. But even on first watch, it's a 5-star movie.
Right on.
Yeah. So and that is streaming on. It's actually I had to rent that one. I guess it's not streaming anywhere. So it's like a $6 rental. So, anyways, that's Challengers, Luca Guadagnino's latest. It is fantastic. Hey, Binge Lord Dan's in the chat. What's up, buddy? How you doing? One. Binge Lord Dan.
Coming in at the end.
Yeah, that's right. So, anyways, that's pretty much it. Tyler, do you have anything you wanted to say to the chat?
No.
No.
Not in particular. Thank you for joining us. And did Joseph even write in anything?
About what?
Anything?
Why would he?
Because he's out of town, and so maybe he's like, "Hey, here's something that I've watched, maybe on a plane."
You abandoned me during your own review of what was the movie that you missed?
What?
Yeah, you were sick. You said you were pissing out of your ass.
Oh my God! Yeah, we don't have to mention the details, but yeah,
you said it.
It was what was it? I do remember. I can't recall
The Iron Claw.
Oh, the Iron Claw.
Yeah, because that's when I got Jason from Binge Movies to come to the review.
Yeah,
and you said that morning, you're like, "I'm sorry, I can't make it."
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Well, at least write in something."
Wait, no, I did. I thought.
No, you didn't. You said I'll do it after I stop pissing from my ass, and then you never did.
Stop saying that.
Well, don't type it into the chat.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Did you write something and never send it to me? That would be the most on-brand thing you've done.
I think I did. Oh God! Hold on. Let me go. Let me. I'm pretty sure I did. Jesus Christ. All right.
Very, very timely.
Yes, I did.
You wrote something in for the Iron Claw and you just never sent it to me?
I did.
You bastard.
I can't. No, wait. You had to have read it.
No.
Because you liked it.
On what?
On Letterboxd.
That's your review. You didn't send it to me, though.
I thought you were going to read it.
So you just write a review and post it to Letterboxd. You assume that I'm going to go out of my way to find it and read it. You don't even tell me, hey, I wrote my review on Letterboxd.
Okay. Well,
read my review on Letterboxd.
Should I read it right now?
No, you shouldn't. The time has passed.
Oh, jeez. All right. Chat, what do you think? You want to hear it?
No.
Okay.
No.
Fair enough.
But I do want to say we have a new Patreon member.
Yeah?
New Patreon member who's not in the chat, but was the last 2-3 weeks was in the chat. Angry Otters.
Angry Otters.
Angry Otter Reacts on YouTube and Angry Otter Comics is their username on Patreon. So thank you for the Patreon subscription. We'll have to. I sent you a message on Patreon, Otter, about what you want for your selection from the wheel. So just respond back whenever you get a chance. Anyways, we are going to take a break now on the stream. We're going to be back in about 15, 20 minutes or so. And we're going to be reviewing the first half of season 1 of True Detective. Tyler's wet dream that we're finally going to talk about this show.
My Bible.
Yeah, that's right. So anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, so thank you to the Cool Ass Yard Duties. That's Javier, Heather Sachs, Ryan Corbin, and Chris. And if you want to support us on Patreon, you can hit us up at patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass, or you can just watch us on the YouTube. Getting those watch hours in is another way of support as well. Until next time. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Bruce, Joseph Bridges, Joel Shinneman, Angie for a hot minute there, Angry Otter, new Yo-Yo player. Oh, Angry Otter's not there. And Binge Lord Dan. Thanks everybody for chatting. It's been a great time. Follow us later on as we review True Detective. We're a little thrown off because Joseph's not here, but all the socials, you guys know where to find them. They're all in the show notes. And leave us a damn voicemail.
Yes, please. That number you can find in our show notes, but I'll say
No, we don't have time.
No, that's fine.
We're going to go. See you later,
All right,
guys.
See ya.
Pen.
Oh, it's time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call.
Bueller.
I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller.
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm late for class.
You're mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kimble to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Hello, classmates. Welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class. I'm your host for today, Pete.
And I'm Tyler.
And no Joseph over there. Joseph's in New York City, and he's in the chat. He says him and Deanna are
Hey, Joseph.
they're resting their dogs before they go out for the evening.
Night on the town in the Big Apple.
Action-packed all the time. Yeah. That's good, though. The
Yeah.
New York trip seems good.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we are on our review episode. In this episode, we're doing something a little different
Yeah, a little unconventional.
and conventional. We have just the two of us, me and Tyler here, and we are going to review Tyler's obsession. What's become an obsession is,
I wouldn't call it an obsession.
yeah, I would. So we're going to be reviewing True Detective Season 1, the first half. So here's the trailer from the UK.
You wonder ever you're a bad man?
World needs bad men. We keep the other bad men from the door.
Well, you don't pick your parents and you don't pick your partner. A smart guy who's steady is hard to find. You know, I was steady.
God, how can you be sold on this?
This is a world where nothing is solved. There are broader ideas at work.
You ever see something like this?
No, sir.
Someone once told me that all your love, your hate, was all the same thing. It was all a dream. And like a lot of dreams, there's a monster at the end of it.
What's that say? Turd? Oh, True Detective.
What is it you found?
Something deep and dark.
Oh my God, how can you not be sold on that show?
It's a pretty good trailer.
Yeah.
I don't know if it really fully conveys the vibe of the show.
No, definitely not.
A little
But,
bit more
they
dark
had to,
and whatever.
They had to draw in an audience, though.
That's true, I suppose. Yeah. So, True Detective. This is a anthology show where each season does not follow the last one.
Yeah.
There are some themes that may be similar, and it is in its fourth season, right?
Well, we don't really consider it the fourth season, really.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Well, because fun fact, the fourth season wasn't even supposed to be a True Detective season. It was supposed to just be called Night Country, and then they slapped the name on it because HBO was afraid that it would flop.
Yeah.
And it didn't, because everyone was clamoring for a new True Detective season.
Well, it's the original show, season 1, is all we're going to be talking about.
Yes.
And it's created by Nick Pizzolatto. And it is starring Matthew McConaughey and
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson basically as the main two leads.
Yeah.
So if you want to get into the rest of the cast, we have Michelle Moynihan as Maggie.
Michael Potts.
Woody Harrelson's wife. Michael Potts and Tori Kittles as the two interviewing them. Alexandra Daddario as Woody Harrelson's mistress. The most beloved Kevin Dunn as their superior.
Yeah.
And then there's a number of supporting cast members along the way that are all pretty great in their own right.
Yeah.
So here's the storyline. I'll give you just a basic breakdown. In 2012, former detective partners Rust Cole and Martin Hart recap one of their very first cases together involving a serial killer back in 1995.
Yeah.
So
that's the gist of it.
Yeah, so that's the plot of it. And Tyler has obsessed over this. How many times have you seen this season through? Don't lie, too. Be real.
3.
I know you were about to say 100 or something like that. Something stupid.
No, I was trying to give you an accurate number, but yeah, it was 3. I'm on my 4th rewatch right now.
So this is number 4?
Yeah, this is number 4.
I'm only 1 behind you then. I don't know how you seem to be like, it's like an obsession, you know.
I don't know what you mean. I don't know.
You talk about it for a while there until we started browbeating you to stop. You talk about it every week. Every week you're like, well, my streaming pick is The Bubble Boy and True Detective Season 1, Episode 6. It's great. You should watch it.
Yeah.
Forever.
What a great impression.
That wasn't even an impression. But it's rated 8.9 out of 10 on IMDb, which ranks it up there with some of like the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah.
If you were to rank it on IMDb's top 250, I don't know where it would lie, but while you give your
probably in the top 100 at least.
Yeah, I suppose so. But as the series kind of went on, it lost a lot of the charm of the first season. And we had Vince Vaughn was in one season with Colin Farrell,
Yeah,
right?
with Colin Farrell. And then you had the 3rd season. I mean, I think it was season 1 basically ruined it for the seasons after
like it made it an impossible act to follow.
Yeah,
is that what you're talking about? Essentially,
it was just impossible. Although, I mean, we won't get into. We're only focusing on season 1. I have a whole.
That's okay. We could talk about the rest of it. It's not we're outlawed from talking about it.
I mean, so like, yeah, it's just an impossible standard to. I mean, like even for any TV show, when people like go into true crime sort of aspect shows. Everyone always refers to True Detective Season 1. Oh, this is the best first season in modern television history. And so it's just an impossible like standard to meet, just because of the charisma and chemistry of Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson, the pacing of the story, the balance of their personal lives and the ongoing case that they're working on, the effects it has on them on their personal lives as well. And really just it feels overall cinematic in a way in which you don't really see that in television. Like it feels like every episode feels like a short movie.
Yeah.
Just the way it's written, the way it's acted.
I think I'd probably say more like every 2 episodes feels like its own movie.
Okay, that's fair to say.
Because a lot of them, you're getting right to the edge of something exciting, and then it leaves you on the cliffhanger, which it's kind of the point of structuring it like this. And I appreciate it too, because I feel like this could have been made into a movie, and it would have been great, but you wouldn't have been able to let these 2 characters really breathe.
Right. Yeah.
Like I feel like the character of let me make sure that I'm getting their names right here. I know Rust is Matthew McConaughey, right?
Yeah.
Where are the episode guides here? What's the other character's name?
Marty Hart.
Is that what it is?
Martin.
I think he just calls him Hart though, right?
Calls him Marty.
Marty. Okay.
Come over here. Marty, we got a break in the case.
Marty, we need to talk. Yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
Marty Hart. So, and then the other thing we didn't really talk about is directed by Kari Joji Fukunaga, or Kari Fukunaga, depending on who you talk to.
Yeah.
I like the name Joji, so I'm glad that they put it in there when they have when he's listed on the on IMDb. Now, I don't know if it's every single one.
It's a majority of them, I think.
Okay, well, I guess we'll find out as we go through these.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kari Fukunaga is a killer director, and the show itself is so cinematic, with a lot of like great symbolism baked right into the cinematography.
The symbolism goes deep, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But I just wanted to say that regarding the first episode, it comes running out of the gate, like it just hits the ground running. And it's in the very first like 10 minutes where it starts out. It has like that ominous music, and it's panning towards.
Well, before even that, we get one of the best intros of any TV show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, T-Bone Burnett, I think is the musician there.
Yeah,
but I don't know if this was one of the first to do that type of intro, but I've seen a ton since then that are very similar. It's like flashes of the characters, flashes of some of the
what's to come.
Yeah, some of the details within the story that as you're watching it, you're like, that's interesting. Ooh, what's that? Ooh, a pair of stilettos on a butt. There was spikes on it.
Yeah.
Oh, a girl in a American flag bikini.
Yeah.
And then as the show progresses, episode by episode, you see those elements into the actual show that call back to the intro.
Yeah.
But also, I think the interest, like superimposing the faces of the two main characters within, the landscape that they're operating in.
Yeah.
Kind of feels like they're part of it. Like there's no, they cannot be separated from their lifestyle. They can't be separated from that. So I really like it. And then it reminds me of, have you seen Dark, the Netflix show Dark?
No.
It's a German show. It's about time travel and some other stuff. And
does that?
It has a real
intro?
similar, except it's more like a kaleidoscope. Like it's like mirrored on side to side, but it does the same thing where you're like, what the hell is that? What is that symbol? What does that mean? Who's that person? And then as you watch the show, it all starts making sense, and you're like, oh, it's very, very intentional. It's not just a random hodgepodge of feel.
Yeah. I mean, right out of the gate, though, when this show starts, it shows this big man carrying a dead body in like what's probably around 4 o'clock in the morning. You can tell it's almost sunrise, but not really. Like it has like that bluish hue in the sky, but it's still dark.
I think they call that blue hour.
Blue hour.
Blue hour. Golden hours at sunset.
Yeah.
Blue hours at sunrise.
So he's carrying a body to this field at blue hour. You can't see any faces. And then it cuts to a field, like it's like this wide shot of the field on fire. And already you're just, what is this? And then it comes to them finding the body.
Yeah.
In the most theatrical way possible, with the girl's hands clasped.
Like she's praying.
She's praying to an oak tree, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah, an oak tree. And then it's a very like a religious, horrific sort of ritualistic style killing.
She's bound. She's been sexually assaulted, stabbed, and she has a spiral symbol
on her
written
back.
on her back, and she's wearing a crown of branches and antlers.
Yeah. But before we get to that, though, Marty was being interviewed. And what I think Michael Potts' character says, like, what do you know about, or what happened in 1995 or something like that? Yeah. Something along those lines. So he's like, what do you think, like, what do you know about Russ Cole? Like, what can you tell us about him? And then he starts recalling that first case, and then it cuts to them finding that body. And they called Russ the tax man because he had this huge ledger. While everyone had like little notebooks they would write in, he had the huge ledger he would carry, and he would like draw evidence and crime scenes. And I really liked the transition from them being interviewed, because you don't know why they're getting interviewed either.
It's the script of this really is pretty fantastic, and I think I find myself the more I see movies that have multi timelines and it cuts back and forth between the two of them, it can either be a crutch or like a gimmick or a gag that doesn't necessarily work and it's done for no reason. In Challengers, it worked fantastically. And in this, it really works fantastically because you see character growth. You see the consequences of a lot of the actions that the characters are doing in the 1995 timeline in the modern day. And you're like, wow, why does he look so different now? McConaughey's got this huge, wiry handlebar mustache, long hair. He looks like he hasn't slept in days. Chain smoking still. Never stopped chain smoking.
Yeah, never stopped.
Joseph says, since he's here in the chat, he wants to share that his 2 cents are that season 1 of True Detective is one of the greatest things ever put to television.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I saw a video that someone titled "The Greatest 8 Hours Ever Created." I don't know if it's like that to that degree, but as far as a crime thriller sort of genre, if you look up crime thrillers or psychological thrillers online, you get Zodiac, Seven,
Yeah.
Presumed Innocent, Silence of the Lambs, Prisoners, Gone Girl, Sicario, Shutter Island, Knives Out, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo,
Yeah.
The Departed, Training Day.
Those are all very great. Nightcrawler, I see right there.
Yep,
Yeah.
Nightcrawler. And you really don't see this talked about because it's not a movie.
Right.
But I feel like it should be in the conversation.
I know. I agree. I think.
Yes, it's 8 hours long. Who cares? You can watch 2 episodes a night, and it's like watching a couple movies in a row. And it's like this is almost the definition of binge-worthy content.
It is,
because as you watch a couple episodes, you're like, fuck, where are they going to go, and who is the killer, and what does it all mean, and also, is she ever going to leave him? Is she going to find out?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting now that I'm thinking about it, how you say like 2 episodes could be like one movie, because after watching the first half of this season for the show, I completely agree, because the first 2 episodes are really self-contained in some way. Like, I mean, of course, like they're gonna leave a cliffhanger at the end of each episode, but the story progresses in a way where the first 2 episodes are different from episode 3 and 4, because it starts picking up, and it picks up really drastically too, but in a natural way. It doesn't feel rushed. It feels like the natural progression of the story is very it feels very natural. I keep saying natural. I don't know why.
Is it natural? Does it feel natural?
Yeah, it's natural.
Okay. Like Natty Ice.
Ew, God, no.
But you're right. The first 2 episodes is a lot of setup. You're getting a lot of from the characters. The one thing I like on a rewatch is I noticed a lot more details about you're giving about Rust, but they're not just. It's an example of almost too subtle exposition.
Yeah.
In a way, because I didn't notice a lot of the details on the first or second watch. This is my 3rd watch through of this season, which should say something too, because I don't ever really watch TV series at all.
Yeah,
I've seen Mr. Robot through 1 time and a half, and I'm going to try to finish that. That's 4 seasons. I've seen Blue Eye Samurai twice. I've seen what else have I seen? Breaking Bad I watched through twice. And this season, this is only 1 season, but I've watched it through 3 times now, and it didn't feel like homework at all. I told Brianna what we're doing for the show this week and next week in Joseph's absence, and she was like, "Oh, hell yeah!"
You know, this is it's a really good show to like rewatch, and then you put it away for like maybe like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And then just like maybe one day you just throw on the first episode, like, yeah, let's see.
And get sucked back in.
And then they pull me right back in.
Yeah. Well, she as we were watching it, she's like, why can't every crime thriller be this good? They can't all be that good, because that's the reason why it's so good, because it just stands apart from the rest of them.
Yeah.
Not everything can be that fantastic, but I mean, the amount of care that went into it. So back to my comment about exposition that's almost too subtle. Rust, in his 2012 interview, says, I remember when we found her, that was the anniversary of my daughter's birthday.
Yeah.
And Marty's not even barely paying attention to the crime scene. Like, he's there, but he's not really into it.
He's just doing like the procedural stuff, and he's like really like investigating it.
He's checking the boxes and whatnot, and he's trying to get Russ to agree to come have dinner at his house so he can meet his family. He's his
without knowing that it's the birth of his dead daughter.
Yeah, the birthday of his dead daughter. So he's there, and that's pretty much what his goal is, to meet this new partner he's got.
Yeah.
Get to know him a little bit more, meet his wife, because, you know, what he says, something along the lines of, well, you know, if my wife knows that you're supposed to be taking care of me and watching out for me, I think you should know her, know what's at stake or whatever. And so they have two very different motives. And then when he shows up drunk to the house,
stinking drunk with a bouquet of flowers.
Yeah, in my head I was thinking, that doesn't seem like the character on the second rewatch. Like, that doesn't seem like his character to show up drunk somewhere like that. And then I realized, I forgot it's the anniversary of his daughter's, his late daughter's birthday.
Yeah.
So I was, you know, and they just barely says it one time, and they never really reach on it.
Yeah.
He brings it up when the wife asks him about it. Asks him what, you know, if he had a family or whatever, he's ever been married, but he doesn't like harp on it and be like, actually today was her birthday.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so fucked up, you know.
I like, but the subtle reaction that Maggie gives to Rust when he just says it so nonchalantly, he's just like, she's like, do you have a like wife and child? And he was like, once.
Yeah.
And
He's very good at getting to the point.
Yeah.
He's like, he talks in poems.
He talks in poems.
Yeah. This is like a memory of a place that once existed.
Yeah.
It's like people were here, but they never really were.
Now it's like
it used to be just a jungle.
Yeah, I love it though. I love it.
He's like, why do you say shit like that, man?
Look, I just want you to stop saying odd shit.
Yeah. You ever sleep, Rust? I only dream.
I don't sleep. I just
dream.
Oh my God. It gives me a boner even thinking about it. But,
hey, Tyler, do you ever worry that you're a bad man?
Nah, we're all bad men.
No, I don't, Marty. The world needs bad men.
To keep the other bad man at the door.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ, this man is so awesome.
I know. He's a fucking phenomenal character.
But I really like the way that, like you say, he talks in poems. But I also like Marty's reaction because he kind of lives in like, he's a people's person. So like, he's kind of looking at him like, the hell are you saying?
Yeah.
Like, and the way he does it, like he doesn't understand like the mental exhaustion that Rust like suffers from like on a daily basis. He doesn't sleep. He was undercover doing drugs and getting shot by the DEA for 4 years, and lost his wife and child. It just so, and that's why he says he's like, I'm what you call a realist. In philosophical terms, it's what they would call a pessimist. Oh yeah, what's that, Russ? Or he's like, I'm not good at parties.
Yeah, let's just say I'm not good at parties. It is.
I
good.
don't think you're good outside of parties, Russ.
Joseph has another couple comments. Number one, so episode 4. We're going episode 1 to episode 4.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go. We'll give some synopsis of each of these episodes, and we'll just do a quick run through. Okay. But Joseph says what got him interested in True Detective was he heard about the production of episode 4, which is a very long one take.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how long it is. I want to say it's something like 6 or 8 minutes or something like that.
I think it's like 6 minutes.
And they go into these projects. It's set in Louisiana, right? And they go to these projects, and essentially Cole at this point is gone back undercover with the old biker gang he used to run with.
Yeah, he's trying to find
the
meth cook.
Their one and only meth cook, who is their lead suspect at this point. And so he goes back undercover, and he's got to do a job with them, a B&E.
Yeah,
he's got to break into these this other.
Like, I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine, essentially.
Yeah, and they go into this whole thing. This is episode 4. And this phenomenal one take. I watched it again. I probably seen that one take probably like 6 or 7 times. And I've seen more extravagant one takes. I've seen like bigger production one takes.
Yeah.
But the fluidity of the camera and the movement, there is a lot of moving pieces. But I don't know if any of it is not real. I don't know if there's any CG involved.
I don't think so.
Maybe a little like post-production sort of stuff, but a lot of the big one takes that you see in stuff like Atonement, where they do that like the big beach shot.
Oh yeah,
the long sweeping beach shot. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of digital elements added in after the fact, because that's just a shit ton of extras in that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Listeners, prove me wrong. But that one take is what got Joseph involved, and Joseph being a production guy himself. And then he watched the series and loved it.
Yeah.
And then he also wanted to ask Tyler if you knew that McConaughey wrote a 400-page biography about his own character.
Yep, I did. It's not published though.
That's some bullshit.
Is it?
That is some bullshit.
Is it online? Because I did read about it, and it
no.
said
I'm saying it's bullshit that it's not public.
Oh yeah. When I saw that, someone said that there was like he did like a huge essay on Rust, and I was like, and so I tried to find it, and no dice.
Can't find it. Yeah.
I was like, oh man, that would be so cool to read. Do you want me to read the synopsis of the first episode?
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Some 17 years after they worked on a case together, Rust Cole and Martin Hart, then with the Louisiana State Police Criminal Investigation Division, are re-interviewed about a case they worked together. They had only been partners for a few months when a naked woman's body was found in a farmer's field. She was posed kneeling before a tree with a crown of deer antlers on her head. The victim is identified as Dora Lang, who, as Cole had predicted, worked as a prostitute. Hart is a family man who does his best to get to know his new partner, but Cole reveals little of himself other than he is divorced and had a child who died. In the course of their investigation, they take an interest in another case, that of Marie Fontenot, a young girl who disappeared some time ago. They may have also found a link between the two cases. So, I mean, yeah, it's the first episode, so it's going to...
You're reading this like random person storyline.
Well, I mean, that's really what it is. That's.
I'm just curious.
No,
I'm just seeing where you got that from.
Yeah, from my IMDb. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the setup. And
I like the fact that they're working on a number of cases at any given time. That's kind of interesting because the case in reality, another great thing about the way this whole story is written is we don't know who the killer is. You know, as opposed to something like Silence of the Lambs where you're shown Buffalo Bill, you know, kidnapping the girl. And then later on, they kind of run into each other, and you kind of know what's happening, and you have information that the detectives don't. In True Detective, you don't have any information the detectives don't.
No, you're going as blind as they are.
Yeah. The only difference is that since they've, in the present tense, into 2012, they've already caught the guy, supposedly. At least that's what they're saying. You know, how could we be still working on this case if we supposedly already caught the guy?
Yeah.
But, you know, so they do know more than we do in the 2012 world, but we're really not shown any of that stuff. So I really appreciated that. I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically the first episode, it's a huge setup. It shows more Marty's character flaws in this episode than Rust's. It just makes Rust in the first episode, it makes him look really mysterious.
Yeah.
And then it makes Marty look like a real piece of shit.
Well, Marty doesn't. Marty looks like a real piece of shit through the entire series.
Well, I mean,
I fucking hate Marty in this, and I'll give major credit to Woody Harrelson for this role because he's overshadowed all the time when you're talking about this show because Rust is such a great character.
Yeah,
McConaughey portrayed one of the greatest characters I think ever put to to film.
Yeah.
But Woody Harrelson does such a great job with it because he's clearly driven in his job, but he's a piece of shit. He's an alcoholic. He's running around on his wife. He's lying to himself constantly about it, whether it's saying it's the right thing to do. And he's jealous when his mistress is trying to get with some other guy.
Oh my god, that scene!
That scene's great.
Cringeworthy.
When he's like, "What are you gonna go fuck that guy?" And she goes, "Do you fuck your wife?" He goes, "That's different."
That's different. Yeah.
I also thought it was funny when she breaks into the house, and you're like, "What a maniac!" But then the one thing he cared about is whether she sucked his dick.
Did he suck your dick?
And the guy's response is perfect. I mean, a little bit for a little while.
Yeah, he said a little bit. And then he's like, okay, then. And then gets off of him.
I know. I just wanted to know. I just wanted some spank material for later.
Yeah. I mean, so, like, I agree with you. I think Woody Harrelson's character does get a bit overshadowed.
He's a loser. He's a piece of shit.
I mean, at least on your first... If you're watching it for the first time, like, your attention is definitely on Rust. But like after this time around, well, even I think after the second time around, I really appreciated his character and how they portrayed damaged goods in people very realistically. And you get frustrated because you're like Marty, you have like the dream life. Like you have this really great job. You have a smoking hot wife with two beautiful girls. Like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
I know. He really is not.
He's a glutton for punishment, and so
well that I think in all reality, I think that it's a power trip with him. Like he thinks he's above the law. He can do whatever he wants because he's a state trooper.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exactly what it was like when he ran into the hospital in episode 4 and is harassing his wife after she left him. And the doctor comes up and he's like, "I'm state trooper." And you're like, are you hearing that physical capacity, which is a very smart guy thing to say, from the doctor. But, like that's his MO is like, I'm a cop. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
You know,
I can. That's like when Rust,
my dad died, so I can be an asshole to you.
When Rust goes to that one prostitute's room, and the girl is like, "You seem dangerous," and then you can see Rust in like this in like the light, like in her like light, and he's just like, "Because I am. I'm police."
Are you? How hard would you get if a girl said that to you?
Are you? Oh my God! I would.
Tyler, you seem dangerous.
I couldn't contain myself. I would take her right then and there.
Yeah, Joseph also said in the chat he thinks that you relate a little bit too much to Rust in 2012.
How do I? How? In what way? I'm not. First of all, I'm not in law enforcement. Second of all,
I don't think he is in 2012 either.
I mean, my okay. Oh, hey, I don't even know.
You're
what to
even
say.
just speechless.
I'm speechless right now.
You romanticize the smoking. You romanticize the drinking.
I don't romanticize any of that.
Oh yes, you do. Why don't you quit smoking or drinking?
Well, okay, we're not. This is about True Detective. This is not about my personal life.
I'm just telling you what Joseph said.
But that threw me off. That threw me off.
All right, I'm going to read the synopsis for episode 2.
Okay.
All right, Cole and Hart continue interviewing family and friends of the victims they found in the farmer's field. They learned that she had moved to a trailer park and found religion. They found the church she attended, now mostly burned out, but they also find something that links the church directly to their current case. Back at the office, they are faced with the prospect of being replaced by a task force. Cole tells his partner that he had a difficult time after his 2-year-old daughter was killed in a car accident. In the present-day interviews, it becomes obvious to both Cole and Hart that the detectives have found something new and are looking to blame someone for something.
Yeah. This episode kind of really gets the ball rolling because because when the task force comes in, you kind of know something fishy is going on because they weren't even on the case for more than 2 weeks, and then they're already getting a task force from the governor, the Tuttle,
Tuttle.
Edwin Tuttle, and so that's that. You could tell, like, I mean, again, like, I think there might be a little bit too much subtlety when it comes in that regard of like gaining clues for like a general audience.
Well,
but you can tell, like, based on how Rust emotes, he knows, like, that something isn't right.
Well, Rust also is very anti-religion.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, that's good writing though. Mm-hmm. You give a little bit of a clue and you don't explain it to the audience, but you know you're going to pay it off later on down the road. Mm-hmm. And they have 8 episodes to do it, so they can afford to do that.
Yeah.
I think that this is when, on my first watch through, this is when I first started thinking, what the hell is the end of this series going to be? Was Rust part of it? Did Rust? I thought on my first watch through that Rust had been like he'd gone actually insane and he maybe became a copycat killer or something.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking the first time.
Wow.
Because I was like, this guy is fucking unhinged. And yes, he was fucked up back then.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's gone worse over time.
Yeah.
He's more loquacious as in his older age, but he just seems like he's in a worse place.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And he doesn't seem like a serial killer in 2012. But he just seems like he's in a worse emotional state. So I was kind of thinking that might be where it's going. And just the fact that they're like, there's a killer out there on this case. You guys already solved the case, supposedly. So either you guys apprehended an innocent man or something else is happening. And I'm like, that's when the story got even more interesting.
Yeah.
It's like you already have the piece of shit main character who is not faithful to his wife.
Yeah.
The very interesting. Oh, look, thumbs up. Yeah, let's see if he does it here too. Hey, there comes the balloons. We got the what's it called? Is it gonna do it? No, it's not gonna do it. That's okay. The other weirdo character who is Matthew McConaughey, who you use just a corrupted. He's got a corrupted, past. It's ruining his present, and it's an interesting like seeing how the two of them deal with the trauma that they have in their life.
Yeah.
One of them deals with it by being a fucking piece of shit, and one of them deals with it by being a weirdo and in turning into a pessimist.
Yeah.
But What was I going to say? Oh, that's the kind of the basis of it. And then you have this serial killer trying to find the killer, and then you have this other missing person. It's like, oh, that's very interesting. And then it just compounds when you find out that they're maybe thinking there's something else happening 17 years later.
Yeah, and the cool thing, there's a scene in episode 2 where he gets found out. The stenographer who he was
Stupping.
Yeah. Who was
Alexandria Daddario.
He was stenographing.
One of the most beautiful women on the planet.
Oh my god, she's so hot. But when she tells Maggie like what's been going down, he cuts to him at a bar with Rust, and Rust is like, I found a connection to get to Reggie Ledoux, who they think is the killer.
Yeah.
And Marty keeps going on and on about like I can't believe this is happening, like just giving himself a pity party. And then
I'm gonna tell you something. I don't want you to take offense, but this ain't my business. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
We got Ledoux. We got work to do.
Yeah, he's just like, we got work to do. And then he gets up and like, as a sign of empathy, he pats him on the back and he says, I have a jacket that I think you might like.
And that's when he gives him the leather. They go get the leather jacket.
Yeah, that's what they. And then, I mean, like, there's like the little things that he shows signs of affection.
I suppose.
Like, because he's not a emotionally open guy. So when he says, and when he's just like, come on, I got a leather jacket you'll like. And that's a way of him saying like, let's go. Like, I know you're hurting, but
I disagree. I think he's manipulating him just to get him to go to work.
Well, of course it's a positive manipulation,
but it's fake. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think it's fake. I think it's genuine, but
no, I don't think Russ gives a fuck about him. I think Russ has
Really?
Yes, absolutely. I think Russ has complete disdain for Marty in the first part because Marty has what Russ lost, and Marty doesn't care that he has it.
You think so?
Absolutely. Why do you think he went and mowed his lawn?
See, now that
I'm
glad that you mentioned.
No, Rust wants to be a family man still. He wants the wife. He wants the kid or kids, and Marty has it. Marty does not give a fuck that he has it, and he takes advantage of it. So when Rust comes back and gives him his mower back, you're like, he could just give it back to him and buy him a case of beer, but he mows his lawn instead. He's like, as a thank you, as a favor, thank you. You did me a favor, I did you one too.
Yeah.
And clearly Marty didn't like the fact that he mowed his lawn. Clearly he didn't like the fact that he was spending time with his wife.
Well, I mean, look at his body. He's like in that wife beater. He's all greased up.
Well, sure. But the reality is with Marty's character, with Marty, he's a serial cheater. So people who cheat on their other partner are constantly thinking that their partner is cheating on them too.
Right.
So they're both thinking that, or he's thinking that at the same time, when in reality, nothing's happening.
Yeah.
But I think in reality, Rust is just happy that he can be pretending to be a dad for a moment.
That's a good way to put it.
And because of that one scene, and also the rest of all the interactions, whenever he's like, you're a piece of shit, is that what's his wife's name?
Maggie?
Maggie. Is that Maggie I smell on you? When they're in the locker room?
Yeah.
And he's like, you talking about my wife's pussy? And you're
no,
like,
he doesn't say. He says, you better wash up. I can smell pussy on you.
Yeah.
And he's like, you talking about my wife's pussy?
And he goes, oh, is that Maggie I smell?
That's so weird. That's so weird.
It's creepy in a way, but at the same time, it's like, bro, I know that's not your wife you're banging.
Yeah.
I know you're running around. I know that you're wearing the same clothes from yesterday.
Yeah.
Everybody knows you're a piece of shit, and I do too.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that Rust has the ability.
One of the detectives says 3 nights in a row.
Yeah. I think that's more like he came in stinking drunk 3 nights in a row. But really, the reality is, I think that Rust has the ability to acknowledge that Marty's a piece of shit, acknowledge that he doesn't particularly care for him, but also he needs him to get the job done, and he's his partner. So he can put that shit aside, where Marty doesn't have that. Marty doesn't like Rust to begin with because he says all this weird shit, and then he doesn't like him again because he's hanging out with his wife when he's not around.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't like him again because he calls him on his infidelity, and he's begrudgingly with him.
Yeah.
He only later, 17 years later in the interviews, does he say, yeah, as much of a weirdo as Rust was, He's a hell of a detective. You know,
He was a good. This is what Woody Harrelson always has.
Yeah,
he was a good detective.
Yeah, and a great box man. Great in the box.
Yeah,
when he's in the interviews.
But why did Russ need a lawnmower? He lived in like a little townhouse. Like he didn't have a lawn.
I don't know.
Why would he need a lawnmower?
I don't know.
Explain yourself, Nick Pilazzotto.
Pilazzotto. All right, episode 3. Let's get to episode 3.
All right.
Let's see where we at here. All right, this one's called The Locked Room. All right, synopsis for this. Excuse me. It's a long one. All right, Cole and Hart continue their investigation. They track down the minister who used the church, but learned that they had abandoned it for some 4 months. The minister played by Shea Whigham.
Yeah.
Fantastically portrayed by Shea Whigham. They had abandoned it for some 4 months before it succumbed to the fire. The local authorities blame the fire on teenagers, but it's still an open case. Cole combs through the old files, searching for any connections to their current case, and he may have found a 2-year-old case that appears similar. He sets out to find the dead girl's boyfriend, Reggie Ledoux, who has a record and knew Charlie Lang in prison. Maggie Hart sets Cole up on a date. The 4 of them go to where Martin sees his mistress, Lisa, out on a date with someone else. In the present day, Cole explains his interrogation techniques, which even Hart admits is different but effective. Hart's recollection of his family life is somewhat skewed.
Yeah, so this episode was really interesting. Mostly because you really get to see like the inner machinations of Rust. He says there's a line that he says in the present day interview. He's like, might as well put my insomnia to work, and that's where he's like working like all night to the point where his alarm on his watch goes off when he's looking at the DBs as they call them. And I thought that was really cool because he wasn't even on the clock doing that. He was just doing it on his own accord. Because if you look at his townhouse, there's a lawn chair, a mattress on the floor.
Yep.
A locker full of weapons, and a
bunch of stacks of books.
A
cross on the wall. And a very small mirror.
Small mirror, which I wonder. I never got the symbolism of that. I'll have to look it up, but. And then a bunch of pictures of dead women on his wall. Man.
Hey, Tyler, before you move on, we got Angry Otter in the chat. Our brand new Patreon member. Woo! Yeah, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Thanks for joining us on the stream. We're talking about True Detective Season 1, the first half of Season 1 right now. It's because Joseph's in New York. So, anyways, real quick before you get back to that, I looked up the IMDb's top 250. Shawshank Redemption number 1 at 9.3. The Godfather number 2 at 9.2. The Dark Knight number 3 at 9.0.
Wow.
So it would fit in basically at number 3.
Wow.
At 9.1. But Breaking Bad is 9.6 as a whole.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean,
Breaking. So this is just one season.
Yeah.
And True Detective, when you look at the actual show as a whole, that's 9.1. If you could break down season by season, maybe it would be a higher rate. You know what I mean?
I mean, like, yeah. It's so the show is 8.9.
Sorry, the whole show is 8. The whole show is 8.9, not 9.1. My mistake. But if you go into the actual episode by episode, episode 1, season 1 is
8.9.
8.9. Episode 2. Let's see what this one is. 8.8. I'm gonna go to episode 4, which is the big one with the
9.1.
The big 9.6. 9.6 is the big one take.
God damn.
Yeah.
But yeah, episode 3 is very heavy on Rust, and it was also that was the episode where we were just talking about where Marty becomes psychotic and gets drunk and breaks down that poor girl's apartment door. She's just a stenographer. Like, how much do they pay? How much do they pay stenographers?
I'm sure stenographers get paid pretty well. You have to be very accurate. You got to learn how to use that stupid machine.
Yeah.
Why can't they just have a typewriter?
The shorthand.
Or a word processor or something.
I watched a YouTube on shorthand, and I could not wrap my head around it.
I've looked it up too, and it seems insane.
Yeah, it seems impossible. It's like you have to really immerse yourself. But Yeah, so he breaks into that poor girl's apartment. The guy is probably scared shitless, half naked.
Yeah.
Or full naked. And he's sitting in her bed. He's like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do?
This insane police officer comes
throws him into a closet and breaking her door.
I love how Marty's excuse for everything is that he was drunk.
That's not an excuse.
It's not an excuse.
No.
Yeah. It's I mean it is an excuse. It's a shitty excuse. It's not a good reason.
Yeah, it's not a good reason.
He says that to his mistress when they see her at court, to Lisa. And he's like, I'm really sorry about that. I was drunk and emotional. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah, no.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Anybody who says that, it's like, man, I was high when I said that. It's like it doesn't matter. You chose to get high. You said those things. You did those things.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I crashed my car into a school bus full of children and killed 3 people. I was drunk.
What do you expect?
What do you expect? I was drunk. If you're drunk and you're out in public and stuff and you do something stupid, that's your own fault.
The jury's like, no, oh, really? Okay, not guilty.
You're drunk. My bad. Okay, yeah.
Not guilty.
Absolved of all bad doing.
But yeah, episode 3 was really good, I thought. And then it's more focuses less on the case and more on the drama of the personal lives, which I thought I wouldn't like it when I first watched the show. Like when I was seeing like the drama between Marty and his wife and the mistress, and you know Russ kind of going into like a insane descent over this case. I was afraid that it would be too much and not a lot of detective work. But I was pleasantly surprised that it's very balanced, where they should like when they show the detective work, like it's really strong, and then when they show the personal drama between both of them, it's also really strong too, but subdued in a way where you're interested in it, but it's not the whole show. It's just like it's like an aspect, like of character development.
Well, that's one of the things. Like one of the reasons why 7 works so well. And we're going to get into spoilers for 7. So any maniac who's not seen 7 for some god awful, I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why either.
Who hasn't seen 7 yet? You really like Brad Pitt's character. You know, you get to see him and Paltrow together. You get to see their like a new relationship, their new marriage.
Yeah.
They've moved into this shitty apartment with a subway that goes by all the time. And he just wants to catch bad guys, and you like him.
Yeah.
You really like him. So when that his family is torn up because of John Doe's actions and the emotion flies on the what's in the box scene, it really is impactful rather than just like anybody losing their wife or anybody losing their family or loved one or whatever, and the baby and she was pregnant. Oh my gosh. You know, so all that really works, and David Fincher does a really job of cramming that into a very tight space.
Yeah.
Because in reality, you get the interaction between him and Morgan Freeman's character for a lot of it, so you get to know who he is, but you don't really like him because of that. You like him and you sympathize for him because of the time that you spent with Paltrow and the time that Morgan Freeman's character comes to their house. So I think that would probably be in real life, if you do have a partner, whether it's a police officer or a state trooper or whatever, you really do want them to know your family. You do want to know what's at stake so that you feel. And that's exactly the same thing that happens for the audience when you're watching this. We get to know Marty and Rust so well in this show that when shit hits the fan or they're in danger or his marriage is falling apart, you feel a kind of way about it.
Yeah.
You either feel like you feel the tragedy, or you feel like, well, good, fuck Marty. Good for Maggie, so she got away. Michelle Moynihan deserves way better than Woody Harrelson.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's absolutely batting out of his league through the entire thing.
I don't know, with all these attractive women throwing themselves at him, I never understood it.
It's power, baby.
Yeah.
It's power.
Oh, yeah, that's in a later episode. I'll talk about that later. But
yeah, what you're talking about, the balance between the personal drama and the
actual casework.
The casework is a very, very good balance, and I think that's what makes this season's so good because I watched season 4 of this and it's like, yeah. I mean, I liked a lot of that. I still think it was good. I don't think it was bad, but it's nowhere near. Yeah. I know that you didn't like it at all, but anyway, so episode 4, the finale of this episode,
the highest rated
episode, halfway point of the season, called "Who Goes There." Synopsis goes like this. The detectives continue their search for Reggie Ledoux, but an opportunity arises when Hart learns that Ledoux is cooking for meth for a drug-dealing motorcycle gang known as the Iron Crusaders. Cole knows them well, having had dealings with the gang during the 4 years he worked as an undercover narco officer. He decides that the only way to move the case forward is to take 2 weeks of personal time, citing a dying father, and unofficially go undercover, off book. He soon hooks up with his old contacts, the Iron Crusaders, but it's clear that regaining their trust isn't going to be easy. At home, meanwhile, Hart runs into major problems while his wife, Maggie, learns of the affair with Lisa. In the present day, the detectives interviewing Cole and Hart can't quite understand why, having found a major lead in the case, Cole would suddenly take 2 weeks leave. Yeah. He didn't want them to know that he worked off book.
Yeah.
Period.
I mean, they already didn't want him there. They didn't want Rust there. The only reason why Rust was there is because he was undercover for so long and he was owed a bunch of favors. So
who doesn't want him there?
The captain, all the detectives.
You talking about 95?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in 95 when this is all going down. He was already not wanted there. He was like an outsider. He was from Texas.
I was gonna say he's from out of state. I'm sure Louisiana people and Texas people hate each other.
Yeah, probably.
Just like we hate everyone from Nevada.
Yeah, he'd stay in that desert.
Yeah,
but I think that he wouldn't get permission to go undercover to
he wouldn't.
This lead. So
absolutely not.
So that's why I think that he was.
He had to fake that he's going to visit his dying dad.
And it's so funny when he gets the cocaine from the evidence locker, and he like changes it with like the bag of flour. And he's like, when he's walking out of the evidence room, he's like, they got to find a better system for this.
I know it for real.
I was like,
reminding me of the evidence room from Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
Except for in that one, there's nothing in it, but just no one cares. The password's 1111.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta imagine like back in the day, that's kind of how evidence rooms were, because the guy who had the key,
he's just reading a magazine.
He's like, can I get the key to the evidence room?
Hey,
sure,
Henry.
just sign the log.
Henry, give me the key to the evidence.
And he's like, okay,
sign
here
the
you go.
log. Yeah.
Just doesn't.
Hey, I heard you're taking some time. I gotta go visit my pops.
He's dying.
Leukemia. Yeah. But anyways, I think that I really was rooting for Maggie in this, the wife.
Oh yeah.
And then when the mistress comes to the house, you don't see it, but you hear the aftermath of it.
Yeah.
She came to our house, Marty. I had to explain to the girls who she was.
Yeah.
She's trashy. You're trashy. And I was like, I don't know. Alexander Daddario doesn't seem trashy.
I mean, I think
cheating with a married man is trashy, but
yeah, that is. But I think she did the right thing, even though Maggie like doesn't have to forgive her for it. You have to give her some respect for coming forward and saying, okay, like this is what happened.
She still needs to take her comeuppance though for cheating. I mean, the answer is obvious. Who's worse in that scenario? Woody Harrelson's character is worse.
Yeah.
Because he's the one who actually is married.
Yeah.
But she's almost as bad because she's doing it on purpose and she knows.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're cheating with a married person,
you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, you're a piece of shit. And even if they're like, well, we're on the outs, it's like, cool, call me when you're divorced.
Yeah.
You know?
But I mean, like, it would be different if she didn't know, and I'm suspecting that she didn't know at first, and then she found out, and then she was just like, maybe I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if
I'm not gonna speculate on that. But what I would like to say is the whole motorcycle club scene. That was really cool.
Oh, hey, there's people in the chat. We got Ryan's in the chat, Jack's in the chat. What's up? Hey. Jack's from the other side of the world. But it's sleep time. No bail. What are they? No Bali? So bye.
Tyler, I
so
feel
bye.
like I should post the Titanic meme for that comment. It's been 84 years.
What's up, Ryan? I haven't seen Ryan in the chat in a minute.
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah, what's up, buddy? But anyways, So, anyways, the episode 4 kind of culminates in, for one,
That's where it really picks up, like towards the end.
I feel like this is the first time that Marty and Rust have become a real unit.
Yeah.
And he trusts Marty, and Marty trusts him, and the stakes are very high. And there's a very intense scene when Rust is talking about, well, the worst that can happen, catch a bullet to the head, and that's it. You know, that it could be a lot worse. When I was in Cartel.
Yeah, and he describes.
I'm not going to go through it because you got to watch it. But he describes a very violent way that someone was killed when they were found to be either a traitor or undercover or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, a bullet to the head's nothing.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
So he goes into full tweaker mode. He's shooting speed. He's snorting coke.
No, he doesn't shoot speed. He shoots up cayenne and ink.
No, I'm not talking about that. He's in other points in the episode. He's snorting anything they give him.
Yeah.
Which is fine because he needs to get undercover.
Yeah.
And
oh my God, I couldn't imagine doing that.
I doubt that.
What?
You've had more stuff go up your nose than anybody I know.
Yeah. I'm not going to comment on that.
No comment.
But yeah, he was doing copious amounts of drugs. And like Matthew McConaughey, like, of course, there's that famous meme of him like smoking a cigarette and his eyes going wide.
I saw that frame and I'm like, yes, there it is.
I know, it's like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme. Like, there it is.
There it is. But that. I like Woody Marty's move when he thinks he's Rust in trouble and he goes and he goes, I'm looking for my friend
with that dumbass hat.
I know,
like he does not look like he belongs.
I was like, what is he doing? He's gonna get killed. And he was quick to think on his feet because he goes, I think my friend's in there. He's 20 years sober and I don't want him to drink or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I could see that being the reason why you're gonna.
Yeah, I mean, but read the room there, boy.
But still, he's trying to save his friend from like getting killed, his partner from getting killed. So, and then you just see Rust going off on a boat with all these guys, and you're like, God damn, he's gonna go out and do it.
Yeah.
And then you get the glorious long one take.
Yes.
The oneer, and one shot, I should say, not one take. And that's really fantastic. I don't really want to ruin any of what that is, but it plays out in glorious fashion. It's so fucking tense.
It is. You're really on the edge of your seat.
There's a number of times they could have got caught up or whatever. And the really cool thing is when he calls Marty from the phone. He's like, I need you to meet me at Riviera between 18th and 19th in 90 seconds. And then he just leaves the phone. He doesn't even hang up.
And then he's like, 18 and 19.
Yeah.
And, he just starts and Ginger's like, oh, what the fuck, man?
I know.
I knew it, you rat bastard.
I just didn't get why Ginger was still like going along with it. They get to the fence and he just starts climbing the fence.
Well, I mean, because if he was left behind, like he'd
die in the race war.
He'll die. He'll die. So he's like, might as well go.
I guess that's a good point. Yeah. So certain death this way. Crash maybe.
And then
his name's right, Crash.
Yeah, Crash. Yeah, it's like I'd rather go with Crash than die in gunfire. But my favorite line is when they get into the back of Marty's car, and he's questioning him, and then Russ says, "I'm so fucking tired of talking to you like a man." Boom! Right to the head.
Right, pow! Right in the kisser.
That was such a badass line. Like because when you think about it, when he's undercover, like he's surrounded by people that he just straight up despises.
Yeah.
So for him to just be like, just let that curtain go
and be able to just really give it to him.
Yeah.
So anyway, that brings us to the end of episode 4, halfway point of the show.
So next week we'll review the last half of the season.
Yeah, that's right. New Yo-Yo player's back, and he says, I'm the only one whose favorite season is number 2.
Oh, my God. Get out of here. I do like the Nora aspect of it, but...
I know at least one of our listeners, confirmed listener, does not like True Detective.
Who?
I cannot say.
Why?
Because I can't.
Why?
But I do know this person has not finished the entire season 1. Watched a couple episodes, and then
who is this person?
Never finished. So I think it's worth... hearing out.
Do they listen to the show?
I just said confirmed listen to the show. I guarantee. God. They may be listening, not live now, but when this goes out on Wednesday.
Okay.
So I would encourage this listener who doesn't like the show or doesn't like True Detective to give it a shot. It's on Max.
Yes.
Pick it up. Maybe the first couple episodes you could put in the background since you might have seen it before, but finish it out because the finale is something.
Yeah.
And you think episode 4 has its own mini finale with this like one shot, and then you kind of get a little bit more of a one, and then you get a real finale in the final. And brother, this is a finale. So I'm really excited to talk about the second half of season 1 next week.
Yes, I am too.
Speaking of that, though, I'm going to be going to the Film Vault live show next weekend.
You are?
Yes, in LA.
Oh, you lucky SOB.
I'm just driving down there.
You're driving?
Yeah.
You're not going to fly?
Why would I fly? It's like
it's a couple hours.
It's like 6 hours to drive there.
It is not 6 hours to drive to LA.
Yes, it is.
No, it is not. It's more like 7.5 to 8 hours. Don't Google it.
Los Angeles
drive time.
CA map. Let's see here.
Just do it on your phone.
Oh yeah, that would probably be easier. Yeah, so I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna get to meet some of the people from Cinematics that I've never met before.
That'll be fun.
Me and Eric are staying in a B&B together. Eric Holmes. Let's see here. Waze. Let's look up Waze. Did I ever tell you about my app idea?
What?
It's a version of Waze, except for it's for like lakes and rivers. It's called Waves. Yeah. So you go on a lake and you could be like, oh, there's a rope swing over here. This cove is good for inner tubing. It's a good spot. There's a floating porta potty over here. That sort of stuff.
Never heard of that before.
You've never seen that floating porta potty?
No.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
Oh.
Let's see. Los Angeles. Did I spell that right? There it is. LA.
What does it say?
View routes. Let's see. 4 hours, 51 minutes.
No way it's 4 hours.
I'm look at the here, chat.
There's no way it's 4 hours.
4 hours, 51 minutes. That's 5 hours.
Okay. I don't.
If I were to leave now, I could get there at 8 o'clock. So it says 8:04.
I don't know.
And that's driving the speed limit. That's what Waze puts in the speed limit. So
I don't know, man.
I'm telling you, when you're a kid, you think 8 hours.
Yeah.
But in reality, as an adult, if you don't stop and fuck around and like have lunch twice and have the kids to pull over and pee and like go sightseeing and this and that, you could get down there in 6 hours. But if you're talking about San Diego, that's more like 10 hours, like 8.5 to 10, depending on what part of San Diego County you're in and what time if you have to drive through the shitty traffic.
Yeah.
So, anyways, the reason I bring that up is number one, any of our listeners that are also fans of the Film Vault or fans of cinematics and this crossover universe that we are live in. Mm-hmm. If you're going to be at the live show, come say hi. I'll be there. I'll probably be hanging out with Eric Holmes most of the time because we're going to be staying together. But it'll be a good chance to meet Anderson for the first time, Ball Brian, and I think there's going to be a couple other people down there. Hopefully, I'll see Greg Sersavasti.
Well, that should be a great time.
He's like one of those desert flowers that only blooms once a year. You have to catch him just in the right time. So I think I can catch him.
Yeah.
But anyways, all that being said, the show's on Sunday, but I want to go down there on Saturday. So I'm thinking, depending on what your Friday looks like, maybe we can do like a late night episode on Friday.
I'm down.
You down with that?
Yeah. If I don't get off too late.
I mean, that's the thing.
It just really depends.
I mean, maybe you could talk to your boss and be like, "Hey, I got a hard out at 6 o'clock."
Oh yeah, no, they're gonna be
just
like,
ask them. How often do you ask them to change your schedule?
They're just gonna say, "How many packages do you have? So and so amount." Yeah, no.
Just tell them you need something local. Say, I don't want to deliver in Napa. I need to deliver in Sac. That way I can get out by 6 o'clock or whatever.
It just doesn't work like that.
You can ask. All they can say is no.
Yeah, okay, I will ask.
But if you go in on Monday and say that on Friday, say, hey, I got an appointment. I got to be hard out at 6 o'clock. So can I get a local route? Can I start earlier in the day or something like that? And if they say hard out at 6 and you actually get out at like 7 o'clock, who cares? Go home, take a shower, come over here.
All right.
We'll do a late night stream.
Okay.
Anybody on the East Coast it'll be like 1 a.m. for you. Yeah. But maybe Jack will actually be able to participate.
He might be awake.
Yeah, it'll be Saturday morning for him or some shit. Saturday afternoon. So anyway, next week we're gonna do a modified stream. We'll figure all that out.
Yeah.
And we'll just kind of play it by ear. And then and then after that, Friday night, I'm gonna go to sleep and wake up Saturday morning really early and just bomb my way down to LA.
Lucky SOB.
Spend the night down with Eric, snuggling all night, and then
Snuggle.
And then Sunday we'll do the live show, and then I'll come.
It'll be like Bert and Ernie watching like some movie.
Bert,
what do you want to watch?
Can you give me a glass of water, Bert? Why can't you get your own glass of water? Have you seen that Bert and Ernie bit?
Yeah.
It's so funny. Great. Anyways, so that'll be next week, and I think that's it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, new yo-yo player says he loves the Film Vault. Sweet. Cool. It is. I told you, it is a crossover universe.
I know. We're a part of it.
Oh, speaking of our crossover universe, Force 5 podcast, I was a guest on them with Jason this last Wednesday. I did a recording. Topic was 5 great movies with characters' names in the title.
Oh.
Yeah, not top 5 movies. So we highlighted some lesser known movies. Not all hidden gems, but some hidden gems that you may never have seen or heard of. And that's going to be coming out in a couple weeks.
Sweet.
So I think not this Wednesday's release, but the next Wednesday release, like 2 or 3 weeks from now. But always a fun time with Kleberg, and he wants to do something in person.
Really?
Yeah, because he's in Berkeley.
Nice.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
I know we talked about maybe doing like a live crossover sort of thing and going out there or something like that. But his episode 200 is coming up. Maybe we can schedule something. Yeah, some fun. This episode 100, he did the Hot Ones challenge by himself.
Oh my god!
And recorded himself eating hot wings.
I couldn't do the hot.
I don't know if it's anything like that, but maybe we could talk a little bit of some fun. So, anyways, anything else, Tyler? You want to say?
That's it.
Okay, cool. So thank you to our cool ass yard duties over on Patreon. That's Javier, Heather Sachs, Ryan Corbin, and Chris. And if you want to join us on Patreon, please go to patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass. You can support us there. Or you can just watch us on the YouTube.
Yeah.
We have the stream every Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Next week it'll be slightly different. But if you just subscribe, youtube.com/@middleclassfilmclass, and just hit the notifications, and you'll get a notification when we go live.
Yeah.
The live streams are a lot of fun, but you don't have to do the live stream. You can also just tune in on every Monday when the podcast comes out. The YouTube video comes out too. Mm-hmm. Watch it there instead of on the podcast, and we get a little bit of kickback from that.
A little scratch.
Yeah, I think it's all right. So, anything else?
That is it.
Excuse me while I die. All right. Until next time. Thank you to everybody again in the chat. Joseph for popping in while he's in New York. Follow us next week as we cover the last half of season 1 of True Detective, and much to Tyler's delight. Mm-hmm. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/middleclassfilmclass, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
And follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class, and leave us a voicemail with the number in the show notes, because I still have not memorized it, even though I say it every week.
Yeah, follow us everywhere. It's either MCFC Podcast or Middle Class Film Class. It's all in the show notes. All right, we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
See you later, yo-yo player.